He's probably gonna say like Jada Parker
Why
should
you don't
be
trust me?
world heavyweight champion, women's world
Why
champion.
don't I trust you?
This is not
Nah, because you
unpopular.
got
Why
that
don't you
look.
Not
trust
right
him?
now.
Now you do your heel thing every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what these things?
Yeah. Oh, what? Why does Rollins
Nah.
have sunglasses on?
Listen to me. I'm
Like-
glad you asked why do I have
Okay.
sunglasses on? Because the red light
That's crazy.
is hot. And it is on. So anytime the red light is on, it must mean it is officially a Wednesday, and the Wrestling Realm Now podcast is live and full in effect because we are fresh off of WWE's 2025 Royal Rumble and everything that happened in it. In case you have not noticed or can't figure out why the heck I have these shades on, is because we are here to talk about the winners of this year's Royal Rumble. In main event, Jey Uso, Yeet, and the Queen herself, Brother Hugh's woman, now that she's newly single, back on the market,
Yeah.
Charlotte,
Yep.
woo, Flair. We have to get into that. We have to get into all the surprises, the things that come, and what is officially leading us to Elimination Chamber. So, I know you missed us. Don't fret. Don't worry, because we are back and we are here to do you all a solid to have this conversation. Not to mention, this is our Unpopular Opinion Week and more. So, in case you haven't figured out what I'm trying to say, yeet.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yeet! Post Royal Rumble Woo. Welcome to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, I'm your host, the realist himself, the real Dwayne Allen, in the building tonight. And he is your host, Brother Hugh, super producer, has a third H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, C to the R, to the D, in the building tonight. And he is your host, not just any guy, not just the belt guy, but the belt behind the guy that thinks that we can't see, Brandon the guy in the building tonight. And he is your host, the man, the myth, the legend, the creator, the founder of the Wrestling Realm. Still in 2025, Mr. Steal Your Goddamn Show, Hollywood. Brian H. Waters in the building tonight. Welcome. And where's the brother guy? See, I'm in a festive championship culture mood because of that belt behind him. To another episode of the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. Now, with that being said, in case you're not familiar, you know what? Screw it. What's in the box? Nope.
Right.
What's in the box?
I don't even know.
Why
What's in
would
the
you
box,
think there's
guy?
a belt? Why do you think there's a belt?
What else would it be? I saw the belt on the porch. You showed the picture. I'm breaking kayfabe. It was large in stature. It reached out that direction. It's clearly a belt because guess what? This is the time of the show where we even talk about the latest and the greatest, the newest brand to the wrestling room. Taking over. I'm looking at the belts. Taking over the wrestling world. Well into season 3, past season 2, past season 1. In case you don't know what we're talking about, but I know you do, this is the part where we talk about, you guessed it, championship culture. Take a listen. it's how fitting that as the spinner belt on Brother Guy's shoulder spins, Brother Hugh is spinning in unison. That's wonderful. Championship Culture every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. Playlist Championship Culture. You can catch everything Championship Culture related, everything in belts, everything in reviews, everything in the stimulating conversations as wrestling fans that we enjoy when it comes to the Wrestling Realm Championship belt space. Mostly because everyone in the Wrestling Realm has quite a few spaces full of championship belts. No, not I only got a few, but the rest of the brothers have filled up the rest. But for those that don't have as many championships as myself and many others, you are privileged to watch Championship Culture. And this episode was probably no different than any other episode that they've had, and they've knocked it out the park. So with that being said, Brother Guy, Brother Hugh, tell the world, if they did not catch it yesterday, Tuesday, 8 p.m., what this episode of Championship Culture was all about. And judging by the way Brother Hugh was spinning in the chair, I have an idea. But go ahead, gentlemen, take it away. I wonder what this episode was all about.
We're only talking about the greatest belt of all time.
Wow.
Question mark.
Yeet.
I'm just saying. It could be in the conversation. What you think, Brother Guy?
Well, when we talk about GOAT, hence was the name of this show. And it was all because of it being a GOAT. You know, a belt that spanned 8 years. We're still, one thing about belts, it seemed like we just keep constantly talking about certain belts because they're attached to certain eras. And this was attached to probably an era that will always be remembered by one particular superstar. That one particular superstar transitioned through wrestling itself and became almost synonymous with just this belt and wrestling and entertainment. So, not The Rock, but somebody else. But if you want to know who we're talking about,
Brother Guy's going to break with all the eating. I can tell. He's trying to keep it together.
No, that's why I'm pausing. Yeah, I'm pausing. But yeah, we definitely did break down, is this belt the greatest of all time? Could it be in the conversation for the greatest of all time? Is the man holding it truly the greatest of all time? Did this belt help cement his legacy, or did he help cement the legacy of that belt? All these questions and more. If you tune into Championship Culture every Tuesday, you get the conversations like this, but you also get a breakdown of belts as well. So, Brother Hugh, why did you call this GOAT with a question mark behind it?
For the questions that you posed. Could it be could it be considered in the conversation for the greatest of all time, as far as belt design, as far as its impact on wrestling in general, and even to the guy that's holding it? Is he the greatest of all time? So it's a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. I'm ready to hear what Brother Allen has to say, but
we're waiting for the notes.
there's a lot that you have to take into consideration when you're talking about that. Putting it up there with one of the top dogs, like such as the Winged Eagle and the Big Gold. So yeah.
So
Brian likes the spinner belt, don't you, Brian?
Yeah, he has one right behind. Oh, wait a minute,
That's your favorite belt?
Yeah, it is behind him.
It's definitely not my favorite, but I like it.
I will say I like it more than I don't see it, but I feel like we might be seeing more of this. But Brother Realness, I think we're at the part that everybody's waiting for.
Well,
you know that part.
You know, the part that Brother Guy's referring to is the segment of the show where if I can't be a part of Championship Culture, I watch the show and I go back and I take notes and I bring it to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast the following day, and I inform the world and everyone else that I, in due fact, have got notes. I got notes. In this very special Yeet edition, I got notes. This for you, Brian H.
I don't know if you can hear my spinning. Is my spinning clicking getting to you?
No.
That's good.
Y'all just want to irritate all the pod listeners tonight, don't you?
No, everybody.
They were like, what is that noise?
They're gonna be like, bro, you're killing me. Everybody's like,
they're
what
gonna
is
be
that
sitting
noise?
up there pumping that iron, listening to the Wrestling Realm, and drop weights on their feet, hearing all this stuff.
And the sound of that's the sound of a spinner you hear, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh,
I'm gonna tell you what that first of all, when I saw this episode of Championship Culture and I saw what it was about, I said, oh boy, I thought of no one else but my old head nephew, Jonathan. I said, oh my goodness, this is a show for him. He is at the age, mind you, I saw his uncle at the Wawa the other day, and I said, he's at the age now where I'm arguing about wrestling with him. He's at the age now where he's a ruthless aggression kid. He grew up in this era. This is his championship. This is his generation that believes it is the greatest of all time. But is it? Now, there's something very different and very special about this particular championship belt. Last week's episode of Championship Culture, you talk about was the Undisputed Championship, the original one, post the Attitude Era. Was it underrated? And we talked about the reason why that championship never gets its glory or its due. It's a beautiful design. It's a wonderful belt, but why it's no real strong history or lineage attached to that championship. It's because of the belt that followed, which was this spinner belt. And I don't know if this was meant to be a part of the show or the thumbnail, but I took a notice at this, and it says from mockery to money. It's the perfect way to describe.
Yep,
It's the perfect way to describe what happened with this championship, because it was meant to be almost a joke, almost a gimmick, but eventually became one of the most, if not almost the popular WWE championship to ever exist. Now, I just like the undisputed champion WWE championship. I too had a love-hate relationship with this version of this belt. I was never a fan of it. When they debuted it, I was pissed. I said, oh no, go back to the other belt. So as much as I couldn't stand the new belt, the undisputed WWE championship, when that came out, I said, no, I'm dead. I wanted John Cena to lose that championship so bad, just so I could go back to the old belt. But then after a while, when it stopped spinning and it kind of, I didn't like the Raw. I didn't like the side plates. I just like both side plates that said WWE champion. So between the Miz, the Randy Ortons, the John Cenas, the CM Punks, this belt has a crazy lineage attached to it. This belt has so many historical moments, especially with CM Punk. We think about this championship belt, the spinning championship, and it's obviously synonymous with John Cena. But when you look at CM Punk did, this championship had so much connected to some of the craziest moments in the history of the industry. And I say the history of the industry because you think about what happened with CM Punk when he left out. And one of the first things I remember seeing when Twitter was Twitter, and CM Punk had when he had the championship belt in his refrigerator, you know, when he came back, and even all the way down to when Rey Mysterio and John Cena were fighting for it, and then CM Punk re-signs his contract and comes back with new music and decided, hey, this is what we're going to do. I was like, man, this is amazing. So the Spinner Championship has such a strong lineage to it, and now that CM Punk is back in the WWE, it seems to have a bit of a renaissance. A lot of people love this belt. Is it the greatest of all time? For an era, it is. You have to have a strong championship belt to match an era. The arguments of the winged eagle, the arguments of the big eagle, they both represent eras. The arguments of the big gold and its many variations of it, they represent eras. And guess what? The Spinner Championship takes its place amongst the Hall of Fame of pro wrestling championships, of being the greatest of its era. It is a championship that defined the generation, and I got nothing but love for it. And I will be adding that to my collection in the near future. Like I said, I will never tell anybody that I hit the lottery, but trust me, there be hints.
It's still ugly. It's still ugly. That's not going to change it.
Hey, you stop it. This is not an ugly championship. Even though the bird looks kind of funky, this is not. The less you see it, the more you appreciate it.
I'll get it one day, but yeah, it's still ugly.
Yeah.
One more for the podcast listeners, Brian H. Yeet. Special yeet edition. There you go. So if you want to go back and you want to catch what this episode of Championship Culture in full, if you want to watch the full episode, once again, go to youtube.com/The Wrestling Room and check the playlist on the Championship Culture, and you can watch that episode there and catch up on the rest of the episodes in season 3. Go back and watch season 2. Go back and watch season 1 and all the special episodes, including Brother Brandon, Wednesday Claus. So, 8 p.m. every Tuesday, 8 p.m. youtube.com/The Wrestling Room, as well as on our X channel. So if you follow social media on Tuesdays, you can also watch the show there. So there you have it. So are you going to open up the belt now, brother guy, or are you just going to let it sit behind you? Because I don't want to move forward from the Championship Culture segment if it's going to sit right there. No?
I don't know what you're talking about, because even Justin said that. I'm so confused why y'all would even think that there's a belt.
Okay.
I have the same setup I have each week. So.
They just open a box.
Yeah, I just it's okay. Well, listen, we will contribute to some positivity as Brother Brand opens up the box. Is because guess what? This is officially Black History Month, and we all month are going to do Black History spotlights on pioneers, people of importance in the industry of professional wrestling. As Brother Guy pulls something out the box. Huh?
Who's the first spotlight? Is it our
Wait,
champion?
it's about to be this belt right here. Hold on, wait. Oh, he got it? Did he get it? Oh, okay. So he's
You happy? The box is open.
No, it's cool. You could pull the belt up to the camera. I saw it.
Wow.
Brother Guy got the new World Heavyweight Championship. I saw it. I can tell by the shape.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. It's upside down. No, the other way. Nope, the other way. Flip it. Flip it. Flip it. Nope. Okay, he's not gonna. Okay, we'll get to it. I see it. It's the word. It is. There it is. I see the side plate. Yep, it's the World Heavyweight Championship. I guessed it. So every week in the month of February, we will be doing a Black History Month spotlight to celebrate. This will be a very Yeet edition, by the way, if you can't see by my shades, to celebrate the pioneers in our industry. We are African American men, and we will celebrate our people, especially during month, with or without the approval of all types of things. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this week our Black History Spotlight goes to leave the anticipation. Sweet Daddy Siki. That's right. Calling himself the ladies' pet and the men's regret, Sweet Daddy Siki broke race, fashion, and cultural barriers in the 1960s and 70s. Born Elkin James, but wrestled as Sweet Daddy Siki. He got his start in 1955 in Artesia, New Mexico, and later moved to Toronto, Canada in 1961. While Siki may not have been the first Black pro wrestler, he did take part in what stuck to be the first integrated world championship match in wrestling history when he faced his in-ring rival and real-life friend, Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, in Greensboro, North Carolina. In Canada, Sweet Daddy Siki will reach his peak in popularity and performance. He refined his character, developing the cocky, arrogant heel persona that became an archetype in the industry. He dubbed himself as Mr. Irresistible. He was a Black wrestler who had a gimmick that wasn't rooted in color. He didn't want you to hate him because he was Black. You were supposed to hate him because he was vain, rude, and arrogant prima donna. In Canada, Siki would reach his peak in popularity in performance, as well as training many of our favorites in Canada. So many Canadian wrestlers came through the wrestling school of Sweet Daddy Siki, including our good friend Adam Copeland, or known as Cope, or we know him as Edge. Edge at one point referred to Sweet Daddy Siki as the Jackie Robinson of professional wrestling, especially in Canada. So this week's Black History Spotlight with the wrestling realm is the one, the only, the late, the great, Sweet Daddy Siki. So there you have it.
I like you taking us to that PBS special.
That was smooth, wasn't it? That was nice. Yeah. So there you have it. Every week we will be doing a Black History Month spotlight, or like I said, on the pioneers in our business, especially of Black folks and people of African American descent and across the world, and their impact on the pro wrestling industry. Well, now that we got all the positivity out the way, this is the part of the show where we go to our newest segment, an alternate segment between Wrestling Room Facts and Unpopular Opinion. And you guessed it, ladies and gentlemen, this week it's Unpopular Opinion time. So what is Unpopular Opinion? Each week we want the fans and those who are listening to get to know the Wrestling Room host just a little bit better. So we have introduced two new segments, Wrestling Room Facts and Unpopular Opinion, so you can get a better idea of the type of host that we are and how we view things as professional wrestling fans. This week is Unpopular Opinion, where each host will describe an unpopular opinion and no one can argue. You have to sit there and take it. You have to deal with it. There's no back and forth. There's no debate. but you're going to speak on something that may be considered an unpopular opinion. Stand by your truth and just deal with it for the rest of the show. With that being said, gentlemen, you guys ready to start this week's unpopular opinion segment? That's Brother Hugh went first. He's not going first because he just, good gosh, he set the tone for the rest of the show. So, Brother Guy, are you ready? Are you ready to be in the hot seat? Are you the first person?
Absolutely.
Are you ready? Okay. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, Brother Guy is going to present this week's unpopular opinion. Drum roll, please.
Oh, I don't have.
Christian Cage is better than Edge.
Oh, that's an unpopular opinion. Oh, I was about to be smart, like I agree with you, but I had to think about it. Wait a minute, that's a debate show. All right, man.
You said we can't argue. Yeah, let that marinate.
Like I'm sitting there trying to figure it out. Like, how do I address this?
Christian Cage is better than Edge or Adam Copeland. Let me be very specific so people understand what I mean.
Okay, moving on. Brian H, are you ready to give the world this week's you told us like on what? It had to be like one day, like I got my unpopular opinion. So I know you got to be ready. So, Brian H, this week, give us your unpopular opinion. Once again, drum roll, please.
Well, when you sit back and you look at who was this year's Royal Rumble winner, it takes me back to WrestleMania 9, and I will forever die on this hill and say the right man walked out with the championship at the end of the show, that being Hulk Hogan, because Yokozuna beating Hulk Hogan at King of the Ring set his family up for greatness in the future.
No, I can't say anything. I know you didn't just take this opportunity to put over WrestleMania 9.
When he said WrestleMania 9, I said, this is not going to be good.
Oh,
Realness, I'm glad we can't say anything. Realness,
I'm just sitting there like, bro, I know you ain't just this time.
He did.
Oh,
he did.
The right man walked out with the title because beating Bret Hart doesn't have the same as it does as beating Hulk Hogan for the championship.
Wow. Okay. All right. Give me a moment to get myself together. Okay.
All right. Are you okay, Realness?
No, I'm good. I'm moving on. I want to say something so bad, but I can't. That's okay.
I know. Because you wanted to say something about Christian. You wanted to say something about Christian so bad.
No, I did because I was just like,
You was about to let it rip, weren't you?
Nope. I'm going to save the best last. Save the best for Brother Hugh. He's going last because last time, good gosh, the Realness is on a hot seat. And I am prepared to give you my unpopular opinion this week. I've said this before. It's nobody but it's a good, and I mean it wholeheartedly. But here we go. Drum roll, please. My unpopular opinion this week is that, yes, the ladder match between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam is 1,000 times better than the ladder match they had at WrestleMania 10. That is all. My name is The Realness, and I approve this message.
That's not an unpopular opinion.
I'm just waiting for both of y'all because both of y'all are 2 for 2.
I'm just trying to, I'm just, Brother Hugh, you're on the clock. Are you prepared to lay the smack down on this week's unpopular opinion? You're on mute, Brother Hugh.
Oh, he did that on purpose.
It's not as crazy as before, but let's get it.
All right, drum roll, please.
Brett. No, I'm just messing with you.
I was about to say, I'm gone.
Nah, but,
I was putting this down. I was going to throw the eat glasses. I was about to get out. I was about to say, show over. I'll see you next week.
As somebody with a doctorate in a Montreal screw job, I would have walked off the set.
Oh, jeez.
It does have something to do with Bret Hart, though.
Go ahead, let it
because his little brother was much more superior than him. He was better than him all around. I'm just being real with you. And of course, I'm talking about Owen Hart.
I got to take a sip.
Y'all keep telling yourselves that.
I'm just.
It's, I mean, it's facts at this point. I mean, it's just,
Wow.
it's just unfortunate they
Okay.
didn't get
Well,
this hit.
ladies and gentlemen, if you can't tell by the silence, that is the whole point of Unpopular Opinion. Each host have just dropped just some very unpopular bombs right now, and it's this awkward silence because we talk about everything wrestling, but this is the one thing we cannot talk about. So there you have it. That's this week's Unpopular Opinion from your favorite pro wrestling podcast host. Next week we will be back to Wrestling Run Facts, and then the week after that we'll be back to Unpopular Opinion. But till then, we got to move on.
Follow us on Instagram. The graphics will be there.
Yes. Keep tabs on the social media. Brian H is on it. That's going to be a people in the chat. Please put your unpopular opinion so we can acknowledge you like Roman Reigns. See what I did there, Brian H? Do the bloodline
It's
about.
crazy.
There you have it.
The greatest of all time.
Speaking of Roman Reigns, he's debuting right now. I'm watching old NXT. He just debuted
Wow.
against CJ Parker.
You know what?
Oof.
Since you brought that up, I think it's time for us to start the show. Let's go ahead and ask our co-hosts Rocky Balboa and Apollo Creed to help us get this show started. Gentlemen, can you help us get this show started and ring the bell?
Want to ring the bell? Ding, ding.
Each week we do a segment called "What Did You Watch?" where the brothers sit there, we sit back and you watch what you watch to get yourself, your minds, and your hearts in the space to prepare for the show, to have these good, deep conversations about professional wrestling. And guess what? We're going to jump right into the subject and the topic of tonight's show, which is the Royal Rumble, because we know that's what we all watched, man. So, with that being said, let's get into this week's segment, What Did You Watch? Sponsored by our good friends at Siki. If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. Good brothers, what did you watch? Let's not waste any time. What did you watch? It's the $1 million. I'll tell you what we watched. We watched this year's 2025 Royal Rumble. I have so much to say, and I'm so looking forward to us having this conversation. But first, I need to know, good brothers, we were all in different places, different spaces, watching this show. What do we think about this year's Royal Rumble?
Oh, this was one of the greatest of all time. This Royal Rumble was the most star-studded I've seen in years, but also so many stories that came out of it, and it moved the needle. It was a Royal Rumble that could have easily put over a veteran, and it would have made sense. So let's just say a former world champion, but you saw a guy who hadn't won the championship, which is something we always like to see at WrestleMania. Somebody win their first championship there. Well, we got that still, even with all the stars locked and loaded. And it was a great showcase of the past and the present when you look at the Women's Royal Rumble. So overall, I thought both, for the first time, I left a Royal Rumble in 7 to 8 years of them being two. This is the first time where I said I equally enjoyed both Royal Rumbles.
Wow, that's pretty high praise. What about you, brother Guy, brother Hugh? How'd you guys feel about this year's Royal Rumble? That was well said, Brian H.
On point. I'm not sure what to believe now because we got Triple H out here leaking stuff and all this, because you hear about the controversy with Drew McIntyre going back to the back and wilding out, but I can't even believe it no more. But overall, like Brian said, told a lot of good stories. We saw a lot of potential matchups, especially on the men's side that I want to see down the line. And there was a couple botches here and there, but the winners, they got it right. 100% they got it right. I love this word.
Okay. How about you, brother Guy? How did you feel about this year's Royal Rumble?
Before I say how I felt, I'm just going to say this. 2025, I'm not predicting anything. I was 0-3 because Triple H said, hold my beer. You think you know what you want? I'm going to give you what you didn't know that you wanted. So this is the first time, and usually after a pay-per-view, I don't want to watch it again for a few months, so I want to go back to those moments. This is the first time I went back and rewatched it the next day to say, okay, there's no way I'm still as excited. I was excited going into it, but I was more excited when it ended because when it got down to the last two for the men's, I started texting and said, ain't no way. This is, oh my God, Hugh was right. Oh, Jesus. Oh, my, they really, I was like, nope, it didn't happen. So it was like, I feel that excitement of being that wrestling fan back in my younger years, sitting there watching it, not knowing what's behind the curtains, not knowing the dirt sheets. I felt a genuine excitement for wrestling over this Saturday. And it was equally from the start of the show to the end of the show. I felt an excitement that I haven't felt in a long time. So the thing about it is I expected storylines to come out of this, but I didn't expect as much more confusion to come out of it because now I don't know what match I want. There were so many matchups that happened and things that didn't happen. You're like, but wait, wait a minute, do I want, who wants to, wait a minute. And I felt like my mind is now blown because it can go any way, any shape or form over the next 6 months, and I'm just here for the ride.
You ain't lying. You are not lying, my good brother. Goodness gracious, man. I'm watching the Rumble, and everything you're saying, brother guy, I completely resonate with this because, like I said, I found myself almost giddy. Like, I was like, yo, it's Saturday, and I was genuinely so excited for the Rumble and everything that came with it. Just watching the matches, and like you said, Brian H., this, to me, I enjoyed both Rumbles, and to me, this is the best women's Rumble I have that I personally thought was great. Like the day of and the day before, they kept showing a replay of all the old Rumbles and stuff like that. So they were fresh in my brain. And you look at some of the characters that we enjoy now versus where they looked at, they were so undefined and you didn't know who they were at the time. But then by the time we had this Rumble, I was like, man, I'm trying to figure out how the men's Rumble is going to top the women's Rumble. But that level of excitement was absolutely there. I could not believe it. I enjoyed myself so much, man.
And I'll say this: I felt like this was the best Rumble to date, because of course, you could. I don't want to call it the greatest because next year might be even more. But I'm saying this has been the best Rumble for the men's and the women's, in my opinion, thus far.
Brother Hugh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How did you feel about seeing your woman in the ring? Yeah, it was a dramatic pause on purpose. Because I said before we move, I want to be sensitive. Before we move on, I said let me ask him real quick. How did you feel about both of your women in the ring? I know this is a sensitive subject for you, and we kept saying, brother Hugh, we had this discussion. I said, I don't know, what are you gonna do when Charlotte comes back? You got Nia there, and they both showed out in the ring. And, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the Rumble and all the fun things and exciting stuff and the returns and the winners and all that good jazz, I just wanted to ask you real quick, bro. You good? You straight?
I'm cool because both of them did their thing. They both showed out. Nia dropped out like 7 eliminations at one time, something like that. And then of course Charlotte came out with that red on, and she won it. So she, both good performances, on both ends.
Okay. Well, listen. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of the Rumble and all the good stuff and the winners, let's ask LA Knight. Did you enjoy the Rumble just as much as the Good Brothers did at LA? LA Knight agrees with us about how much he enjoyed the Rumble. Gentlemen, let's just start at the top. The winners.
Hold up, he didn't enjoy it that much. He was part of the controversy.
Well, see, that's what I don't know. That's the stuff that we don't know.
Yeah,
if it's legit or not. Let's talk about this man right here. Yeet. Can you talk about the glasses? Yeet.
Mm-hmm. You got color. You got draw.
I know. I was trying to find an old school, like what do you call it? The whiteout pins like Soulja Boy used to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't find one in time. Main event, Jey Uso is headed to the main event of WrestleMania. What in the world are we living in? First and foremost, I got to say this. I'm sorry. This is Brian H. I'm going to the big screen. Who in the world ever said anything about complaining about Jey Uso main eventing WrestleMania? Jey Uso is what Brother Hugh has coined, and I say he coined it because he says it the most, a 5-tool player. He proved it in merchandise. He proved it in a fan reaction. And 65,000 plus, 75,000 plus. How many people that was actually there? Yeeting in unison, including the commentators, feet on table, hands raised, yeet and more yeet. Yo, he passed the test. He has proven he deserves to be in the main event. He is proven he belongs there. There's nothing else left for him to do except finish his story, the build that he has had in such a short amount of time. Now, we may call it short, but we're talking about 15 plus years to get to this point. And you're talking about a legitimate people's champion. Like I said, you saw it in Diamond Dallas Page. You saw it in The Rock. Certain guys are just people's champions. And Jey Uso is this generation's people's champion. Good brothers. How did you guys feel about Jey Uso winning the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble? Yeet.
Man. I tell you one thing, when it came down to the last two, I was in here pacing, going back and forth, just pacing like crazy, screaming, "Come on, Jay, let's go. Let's get it, Oos. Let's get it." I was just going crazy for like, however long it happened. And then when it finally happened, I was like, man, please don't let it be John Cena, first of all. Because I'd rather see the chase to 17.
Right.
I'd rather see that. Let them play that out until later on in the year. But Jay deserves it, 100%. He deserves it. And I mean, he's been in the middle of one of the top storyline, probably of all time, in the bloodline. And they gave us all the Easter eggs early. They said it. Roman said it to him plenty of times. Look, you're next up. You're my right-hand man. He said it to him first before he said it to Solo. They was planting seeds the whole time. And everybody was complaining. Why does he keep losing the big ones? He's not main event. He's not this, that, whatever. Well, look, he's in the main event. He's in the real main event. Right? So I ain't got nothing else to say to y'all. Yeet. Let's go.
Yeet. Brother Hugh, your TV is clashing with your audio just a little bit too, by the way. Give you a heads up.
I don't have a TV on.
Oh, who's
that? Might have been me.
That Brian, it's my bad. It's Brian is watching crowd.
Is that what?
Anyway, I thought it was Brother Hugh because he was watching what you call it. But for the guy, Yeetimus Prime.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yeetimus Prime.
Yeetimus Prime.
So, as much as we could talk about we in this new era, we got a lot of years of damage to recover from. We got a lot of years of certain booking to get that stench off of us. And I'm telling you, when it got down to the last two, at first I said, oh, we're back to how we used to be. Cena's going to win. The guy that, in a defeat, he comes out on top. Because that's been his story since SummerSlam 23 or 20. When he fought Roman, was that 23?
22. 21.
When he fought Roman, when he had the white, when he had the all white on and he had the white leg. So ever since then, he always comes out on top in defeat. And I was so scared. I was like, yep, because you couldn't tell me going into this Rumble, CM Punk wasn't going to win. And when it came down to those two, I said, oh, it's going to be Cena. I was wrong. It's not Money in the Chase. They're going to go ahead and crown him at WrestleMania because, like we said about CM Punk, this is his last chance. He's getting older. But the excitement, they definitely got us. And for Cena to do that for him and then Cena to cut that promo made me gain another level of respect for John Cena. And the fact that you took a tag team guy, he got his own identity. He did everything he was supposed to. I know he saw the backlash of why can't he win this? Why can't he win that? He was just holding on for this moment. And now we have a champion that can be the face of NXT. Well, not a champion, a winner of the Rumble that can be the face of Netflix, be the face of almost WWE if you push him that way. And he's been there the whole
everywhere.
time.
Yeah.
So even to the point, he's got the John Cena treatment in the different color shirts.
Fact.
He's got the John Cena treatment in all of the merchandise. All he got to do is start making the appearances. So I'm going to say this. keep this man in a bubble until April 20th. Don't let him wrestle nothing. Let him go out there and just, hey, how y'all doing? Yeet, going back. Please protect this man until April 20th so we can have that moment.
Did John
Ye-
Cena pass the torch? Was that a passing of the torch right there?
I don't know. It seemed like he was passing of the torch until he got to that press conference. And he said, look, man, me being this nice guy isn't what people paying to see. I said, John Cena, you freaking actor. He's acting in circles right now.
Right.
No,
Came in
first
all
he said,
upset.
I'm not answering no questions. He
Yeah,
said,
he
I'm
said,
going to make a statement. He said, I'm not answering anything. I said, oh.
he's so
Okay.
Hollywood, but he knows what he's doing.
He said, y'all got a whole month to talk about me because I'm going to go film this movie. I said, oh, okay.
Like, okay, no, that's cool. And he said, and I'm still showing up to the limit chairman. I don't have to earn nothing. I'm John Cena. Also, we pulling the John Cena card. Who knows?
Am I the only person that wouldn't have been mad if Logan Paul would have pulled it off?
Yes.
Yes.
You're probably the only person.
Oh
You're
my
the only
god!
person that be like, let's go,
You
Maverick,
talk
let's
about
do
all
this.
the heat.
Oh my goodness.
You like, he's been my Maverick since day one.
Talking about lack of heels. Trust me, that nuclear. Before we get into what
Yes.
Brian had to say, we got to ask the question: how did we get here to this point? We watched the Rumble, and we had our predictions for 2 weeks, maybe 3. We talked about Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble, and then the following weeks we talked about can Jey Uso main event WrestleMania after his battle with Gunther at Saturday night's main event. But Brian H, in his recent episode of Break It Down with Brian H, episode 285, he gave us a very, very synchromatic breakdown of Jey Uso winning this year's Royal Rumble. Let's take a look at what Brian H had to say on his latest episode of Break It Down with Brian H. Keep it 100 before we take a deeper dive into what exactly he was referring to. Take a listen.
This guy's the most over guy. Had the whole crowd yeeting. And on Monday Night Raw, the debut on Netflix, you saw people get attached. Now, I looked up and down my timeline. Now, I'm still on the positive side. This is a positive show. I saw a lot of people into this, but what I saw was people who had stopped watching wrestling that's getting back into it are sold on Jey Uso. That should tell you something. Those are your new fans. Those are the ones you want to keep hooked in, because if they complain, they're gone. They're gone again. But the fact that they love Jey Uso shows you something.
If you want to catch the full episode of Break It Down, Brian, let's keep 100. Head over to youtube.com playlist, Break It Down with Brian H. To what you just said, good brother.
He ain't lying.
Brian H. Please
Yes,
elaborate,
sir.
brother. You went into all that on your show. Keep it 100. Break It Down with Brian H. Keep it 100 about Jey Uso's win. And you touched on a number of different things. Please elaborate on a number of those things that you referred to in regard to Jey Uso, the alleged hate that he received, and what you can do now that Jey Uso is in the position to be the face of WWE and receive that Cena treatment, as Brother Hugh pretty much described and alluded to.
Yeah, well, one of the things I always try to do, man, is filter out my timeline of the garbage, all the unnecessary wrestling stuff, because I realize I actually enjoy talking wrestling more with like the fans that are coming back, because it's like that they unlock the treasure box, and it's like they recapture their childhood when they say, oh man, bear with me here, because they know how toxic the internet can be. I would give a shout out to my good brother Randy Sneed. Randy. He just got back. Yeah, he just got back into it, and he's like, man, and it's funny because every Monday he says stuff like, all right, so I'm trying to get this, and I'm trying to understand this part, right? We seen Kevin on stage, jumping into it. You even see like Ocho Cinco tweeting from Nightcap. And shout out to my good friend, my good sister, Tarika Foster Bransby. She'll talk about it. And I'm watching them, and I saw on X all these people like, really, WWE, Jey Uso, he just keep losing this, that, and the other, right? So then I go to the Good and Meta website, Facebook, and I see people a lot of people I just named saying, yeet, oh, okay, Jey Uso, it's just me, Uso. And I'm like, wow, they get it. Then I'm watching the crowd reaction. I know how I felt. I'm like Brother Hugh. I'm standing there pacing. I'm walking around, and there's actually a reaction video that didn't make the cut, but I know I had, there was a reaction video of me when he won, And I FaceTime my son, and he was happy. He's like, "Oh, my goat won." And I'm like, "Your goat? Well, my goat with the
Oh my
Usos."
gosh.
And I'm like, you know what? Have your moment, because he was like in and out of watching, and I was like, "Did you just see what happened?" I said, I go to the TV. I'm like, "Look," and he's like. And I remember that was like the feeling I had when Bret Hart walked away with that WWE Championship after WrestleMania 10. So with Jey Uso, it's watching fans clamor to him. It's watching, like I said, the old school fans, because he has something. Jey Uso has figured it out, what a lot of people can't do. Cody figured it out. That is being the guy that the men can rock with, the kids love, and the women like to look at. He's hit all of those. Roman really was only on 2, if we're being honest, as the tribal chief, because he turned his back on the kids. So the kids booed Roman, except, the rebellious ones, right? But now, like, Roman is coming back into that ring, but he's all right. Huh?
The rebellious ones. That was a good one.
Yeah, the rebellious ones. But now, he was always a 5-tool player, but it was the role he had to play. And he was able to pull it out of Jey Uso. You know what I mean? And this is what I said weeks ago when I said, throw Jey Uso on that family Mount Rushmore. Jey Uso has the opportunity to do something that nobody in his family did. That is walk away in their first shot at WrestleMania, walk away with the championship. Yokozuna fell short, The Rock fell short, and Roman fell short. Jey can do that. Jey is constantly going out here. He's setting records, but again, he's the people's champion, like you've been saying for weeks. He's showed that he's more than a tag team guy. Big Jim, he doing his thing.
Big Jim.
I don't see him turning into the main eventer yet. I know Roman told, I don't know if it was Busted Open or he told O'Shea Jackson, he said, "Look, we can continue this thing for years. All this 3rd inning and 7th inning, all that." He said, "We're game 1." He said, because there's so many of them, and there's so many layers, and they're building stars. And that's the thing that he's doing that a lot of his predecessors didn't do. Brother Hugh mentioned Bret the Hitman Hart. Now, everybody knows I love Bret the Hitman Hart. How many world championships did Owen Hart have?
That's not fair.
Not at all.
As I say that, I'll just watch Jimmy turn on Jey. As I got SummerSlam 2023 on, and boy, if you could have felt the pulse in the arena, that was the first time where I felt people was like rocking with Jey Uso as an individual. Like, I've been to places where they rocking with the Usos, right? I mean, even before the Bloodline story, people was rocking with the Uso Penitentiary, because that's when they put themselves in the conversation of greatest tag team of all time. The Bloodline solidified it. And it goes again to show you range, right? But then that night at SummerSlam, when he had to go in the tribal combat with the greatest of all time, you saw the beginning of the Jey Uso movement. And that's what got us to him. You out the blood. He said, "I'm out the bloodline. Ooses deuces on the Raw, teaming with Cody as a world tag team champion, still chasing the whole time. They was building the layers. He was chasing. They was programming us to say Jey is going to be a single star. Yeah, you saw him work with his family, but no, you're going to see him work outside of that." And that's exactly what he did. And it came full circle. A year later, he's an Intercontinental champion. And if you look at it, he's following the trajectory. I mentioned Bret Hart, right? Tag team champion, Intercontinental champion, world champion.
And he did it in such a short time. And they probably have a lot in common, because Bret Hart also did go to the hood. So Jey Uso's been everywhere.
Yep.
As far as making his media rounds in regard to
chilling with the black kids.
Yeah, having that crossover appeal. Now I'm having technical difficulties, so I'm gonna use this other slide to talk about her, even though she deserves her own slide. But Charlotte Flair, let's talk about her. The winner, the queen, has returned. The winner of the women's 2025 Royal Rumble, Brother Hugh. God dang it, I asked you earlier, but I need to know again. How do you feel about the queen being out for almost, I guess, 2 years and now finally making her way back, giving passionate promos, saying she doesn't care what the fans think because she is the queen and the queen is back to sit on her throne, winning this year's Women's Royal Rumble on her way to WrestleMania as we await for her to choose her opponent. Was this the right decision? Was it too soon? Is she ready? Has she missed a step? Has she lost a step? Or is the queen always the queen?
What's her new T-shirt say? What's her new merch say? Top girl, right? So she's right
Top
where
girl.
she's supposed to be. She's
Mm.
right where she's supposed to be. So all these fans that's out there crying about, oh, why Charlotte came back and she won the Royal Rumble right away, this and that, whatever, whatever. First of all, y'all asked for Charlotte and Tiffany. Y'all the same people that was crying about Charlotte and Tiffany ever since Tiffany won the daggone belt, or ever since she came up to the main roster. So I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear none of
He
Mm.
ain't
that.
lying.
I'm just being real with you. Like, who else were you supposed to put it on right now? Who else was supposed to win the Rumble right now?
Mm, mm, mm,
I
mm.
wait.
That was
I
my
wait.
question.
Yeah.
So why not come back? Give it to the person that's reliable. Give it to the person that deserves it because she is the top dog. I was listening to
What's the most
Busted Open
important part?
Radio. What's that?
She draws money too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I was just about to
Mhm.
say that I was listening to Busted Open, and they were on there
Yep.
talking about how there's only two wrestlers out right now, or two superstars out right now that are they just they captivate you with their greatness.
Hmm.
They have that aura. I know people use that word a lot. They overuse it a lot nowadays, but it's Roman Reigns and Charlotte Flair. When they walk
True.
out, you saw the way she walked out.
Oh yeah.
She
She
came
stopped
out to the
everything.
Rumble, man. Everybody, they were going crazy for her.
Yep.
I was speechless because she looked good, and then on top of that, like the same thing we said about Rhea Ripley, she
Hmm.
commands that attention. She
Facts.
came out, she had the red on, and she didn't run into the ring like everybody else. She said, "Look, I'm the queen. I'm gonna do
Fact.
my
That's what I
thing."
was thinking. I thought the same thing. I was like, first,
What?
as soon as you said that, I said, she's like, I'm the queen. Facts.
Mm.
She said, "I am the line," So
Yep.
y'all gotta wait on me. I'm gonna come in here and win it anyway. So what's up?
Hmm.
And I love that. I love that. So yeah, it was by far. It was the best. It was best for business.
She's
What
better
Good
about
for
player
you?
than
business.
player.
Yeah,
Listen,
that is
once
true.
again, unpopular opinion is over. You just said, oh boy. But in all fairness, you brought age. Ric Flair did admit, he's like, no, my daughter's 1,000 times better than I ever was.
He
Brother
know
guy,
ball.
well, how did how did you
Hey,
feel
opinion.
about this
Not
year's
just.
women's Royal Rumble winner? You surprisingly have said all positive things about a WWE show. I don't know when the last time I've heard this from you, brother guy. So I'm shocked. So I'm curious to know how you felt about or why you feel the way you feel in regard to the women's rumble and Charlotte coming back victorious, the queen back on her throne, but winning this year's Royal Rumble and setting up her road to WrestleMania, which is she's already ruffled a few feathers in case people haven't noticed or watched. But how do you feel about Charlotte making her return and winning this year's Royal Rumble?
So the crazy part is, I'm sad my pick didn't win, but I understand.
And
I
who
was
would you
just
pick?
trying to
Remind
think.
the people.
Jordan Grace. I was trying to
Okay.
pick left field, like, because whatever you think is going to happen, Triple H goes different. So I said, let me just think a little different. And I was gun ho that it was going to be Jordan Grace. Thank you that she came to the Rumble and she's a WWE superstar. Great. When it comes to Charlotte Flair, I don't know if people really make this correlation. We had John Cena, we have a Charlotte Flair. She is literally
True.
John Cena without the Make a Wish. Same amount of title reigns, same amount of things. Break the glass is Charlotte Flair. Default is Charlotte Flair. Nobody an issue, but it's because she's a female. It's always the hate comes in, because it was one point that it became cool to chant John Cena sucks, but we've seen Charlotte at a house show. A house show Charlotte is different than a Raw or SmackDown Charlotte. For some reason,
Different animal.
it's a whole. So that's probably what should have been portrayed, that house show Charlotte Flair. Um, but we could talk about who else could have won it. That's up for debate. But I think that's why we didn't see certain people into the Rumble, because if she's there, you can't have her share the spotlight. And now it opens up the fact of, like I said about the Undertaker thing, where she's going to go to all three shows and not going to make a decision. it's going to add some intrigue because now whichever way she goes, it's going to elevate that person. Even though Rhea doesn't need any more elevation, but now in the thought of the third match because they need that deciding who's the better one. Then if she goes to Tiffany, that's what the internet's been asking for. But she even teased with Julia. That's something that nobody ever thought they wanted.
True.
So at the end of the day, she's the best one to have won it. I was happy that she returned. Everything about Charlotte, and when people don't realize two things. Every year in her WWE career until she got injured, she has won the championship every year. Like clockwork. If you go back and look, every year, that's one of those things that they don't talk about. She's been a
Right.
champion every year.
Mm.
And also, she said it in an interview. Why am I always considered Ric Flair's daughter? Why can't I just be Charlotte Flair?
Hey.
So she had to work harder. She had to do things, and she even said it. If I was a male, I wouldn't get this hate. But because I'm doing the same thing that my counterparts are doing, I'm getting this hate. And we've seen it all week. Because she literally is, if you think about any other superstar that has this many title reigns or this much TV time or this much I return and jump right in front, it's quiet. It's okay. But when it comes to her, it's always been that, oh, it's Charlotte Flair. Yeah, she was shoved down our throats just like Cena. She was forced on us just like Roman, pre-Roman of the tribal chief. He was shoved down in our face. This is who you're going to take. This is your champion. Charlotte was right there doing everything that was being hold of her, and she was excelling. Because there's not a lot of matches that you can't talk about where she's in that conversation.
I don't know. Let's ask her pops. Rick, do you agree with Brother Guy? Okay, Rick Flair agrees with you.
Oh, and one other thing about the Rumble,
Mhm.
I'm so happy that we didn't have, could have did without number 30, but I'm so happy that we figured out how to have a Rumble and be exciting without, let's break and I want the women of the past to be there because they didn't have a Rumble, but the Rumble is now a stable thing. It's not new anymore. Let us have this Rumble. One or two surprises are cool. Could have did without number 30. But I'm just saying it was a
Don't
great
be a hater.
Rumble from, I'm just pointing out the obvious. And I don't know about you, that Alexa Bliss, that proves that Triple H's feeding us whatever he wants us to hear so to get the conversation going. Because when
doing
that
it on
music
purpose.
hit, when that music hit, it was, oh, well, there's something. That's a nice surprise. That's what I think that we're moving to now when it comes to Rumbles.
Mhm.
These are the type of surprises we're going to have. The things that did we expect AJ Styles to be back this soon? Ankle injury. We raked the person out for like a year.
With the
Alexa
ODB.
Bliss had said she was done. She was supposed to come back. How many times?
Mm-hmm.
So now you get all of these things in the Women
And
Rumble.
they poke fun at it too. But
And I'm going to address one thing. I
yeah,
saw
go ahead.
people were talking about, why the mid-card champions in the Rumble? The Intercontinental Champion and U.S. Champion for the men have always been in the Rumble. Why is it a thing that now it's a new title? It's in the Rumble. Now, don't get me wrong. Outside of the Rumble, is it not utilized? Yes. But don't make the argument that it's being downplayed in the Rumble when it's all the Intercontinental Champion and U.S. Champion has always been in the Rumble.
True.
So after the 90s, like once the Attitude Era hit, because that's the reason why
it becomes a staple
in a Royal Rumble.
The superstars
because
became more important than the championships. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like,
but
he's
it's always been a thing.
He can't be in it. It's like, no, shoot. If Godfather has the belt, he's still got to be in the Rumble. Just an example.
Yeah, we need that person get in the Rumble.
Right.
It doesn't matter who get in the Rumble.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Brian H., the Queen, back on her throne. This year's 2025 Women's Royal Rumble winner. Did WWE get it right? Do you feel the same way about Charlotte that you do Jey Uso?
Yeah, absolutely. She was my pick. I had a clean sweep over at the Ringer, where I picked both in our draft. And Charlotte was my, kind of like my first round pick. And the reason why, when you look at everything that she's doing, right? Like you said, she's been gone a while. She is the standard. But also, story-wise, it makes sense. Nia Jax could have been the runner-up, in my opinion. And you run back Nia and Tiffy time, but we just got Nia and Rhea, so it's like you don't want to do that twice with both of your championship matches that you had on Saturday night's main event. Bailey could have been a back-to-back winner, but I kind of see Bailey kind of jumping into some personal feuds or a mid-card feud, probably more personal. So that's the reason why, yeah, Charlotte was the best. If you would have, I love that everybody made sense, right?
Right.
Nikki Bella is back. She said it. She wants to be Nikki Bella again. I'm happy. She is the person who paved the way for a lot of these women. And now she's going to get to work with these women and work that style. One of the more underrated feuds heading into this era was her and Carmella. But she showed us like, yeah, I can go. I can get down and dirty. Now we're going to get to see that. Trish Stratus has said, this is 25 years of Trish. So we're going to get some Trish Stratus. We're going to get some Stratus faction. And then Alexa Bliss, absolutely, right? All the women from NXT, outside of Lash Legend challenged for the tag title, and she also wrestled a major PLE, but all the women that was in it were challengers for the NXT Women's World Championship at one point this year. So overall, I thought it made sense, but even with all of that, even with all that storytelling, it made sense for Charlotte Flair because what I saw with her coming back, like she said, she is the standard, she's the table, she's the everything, right? I saw her go up to Rhea and make Rhea Ripley say, pick me, because Rhea wanted to prove I'm mommy now. When I beat you for the title, but I wasn't grown up yet. I'm grown up. I was the one holding this company down while you was gone. That's what Rhea wanted to prove, right? Julia is somebody who came in the WWE filled with aura. I don't care what Julia and Stephanie Vaquer did before they got to WWE. I know it was good work, but they've come in and they've made this their home. Kind of like what AJ Styles did, came in and they made this place their home. See, Ric Flair, yeah, he was given the championship and all that, but Ric Flair was never really home at WWE. That's why he went back to WCW as soon as his contract was up. He was getting head back to the mid-card. But these are people who came in and became instant main eventers from where they were coming from and made this their home. So when you look at that, and you look at Charlotte Flair being able to work with them, like I said, her and Julia, I'm like, well, wait a minute. I think I want that. A little
bit intriguing.
And now, Friday, she's going to go to Tiffany Stratton. And this is it sucks sometimes, but my job, I got to look at headlines, but I try to stay away from the dirt sheets because even though stuff could be so obvious, still, let me just enjoy it. Let me just see what it is, especially during this time of year. But what I be seeing is that's money right there because Tiffany could lose to Charlotte and beat her later, and that uplifts her. It's nothing wrong with saying you lost to Charlotte Flair or she a bingo. And people still don't want it. They still mad about that one. And she was nowhere near. She was on her Roman Reigns big dog era then.
Yep.
Or
that's what we compared it to.
Yeah. Or
true.
She could beat Charlotte Flair and then instant raise her stock. Either way, it's a win-win situation. So, and then what you see is everybody can benefit from a match with Charlotte Flair. So the best thing about Charlotte, her best attribute is when she gives us a chance to miss her. Maybe, this obviously wasn't something she wanted to do, but it gave us a chance to miss her. And, she reminds us she is one of the greatest women wrestlers, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Facts. You hear that, brother Hugh? You okay with that? Man,
I hear the best horseman or horsewoman.
I think she's the greatest. I think she's the greatest of all time. I think she's the greatest.
I'm not ready. I'm not ready to take the mantle from Trish Stratus because Trish Stratus is a 10-tool player.
Now, and I'm not even mad at you for saying it because what that woman did at the Royal Rumble, let's just talk about it. We're going to transition into. We're going to still break down the men's rumble. She really doesn't. We're going to break down the women's rumble. We're going to bring down the men's rumble, and then we're going to talk about some of the nuances in both of those. But let's just talk about the surprises. We're already here. Let's just transition into it. The surprises of the rumble this year. Now, I know on the previous show, we were talking about surprises that we were looking forward to. Looking forward to seeing maybe Carmella on the women's side. I was looking for Mick Foley at some point. Maybe Aleister Black. I don't know. and there were a lot of surprises that we didn't get. But let's talk about the surprises that we did get. Now we just finished talking about the women's Royal Rumble winner in Charlotte Flair, which is already we kind of knew it was coming, but we got returns from the phenomenal AJ Styles, and then of course the returning Alexa Bliss, and even the commentators like, wait a minute, I thought she wasn't coming back to WWE. And they was like, don't read the dirt. They just completely burying like
Yes, I love it.
that whole industry publicly.
Yep.
And I was like, she comes back with a jacket that says Fiend for Life. She has a new doll looking crazy. And of course, say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, shows up. And of course, my dog, the phenomenal AJ Styles, returns. And I didn't even think about him returning because he was trolling online when they said everybody like, how's your ankle coming along? He said, I don't know, this one is kicking my tail. Of course it worked because the first time he had an ankle injury, it kept him out for an entire year. So the surprises, good brothers. Were you guys happy with the surprises that you saw this year's Royal Rumble? I can't say they weren't massive surprises because maybe a couple of them we saw coming, but Trish Stratus, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, AJ Styles, of course, Joe Hendry, amongst
made sense. They all made sense. It was perfect. You know what I mean?
Too,
yeah, like it's just they all the stories.
Yeah, Brian H versus other years. To put it in context for those who might be listening.
All right, so it's funny because I was having this conversation. We did a post show over on those wrestling girls, and I was breaking this all down to Krista B. A lot of times, what would happen is you get these surprises. You remember when like Kevin Nash came back, and then it's like, and then what? Yeah, Booker T.
First time, not the second time.
And the thing is with those is the way the roster was built. It was kind of like, all right, yeah, you kind of have to. Now the roster is so healthy. It's not even like it's just a waste, right? It's just so healthy because again, tons of stories being able to be told in the Rumble. You know what I mean? Even with people like Chad Gable, Otis, Penta, all of them. So when you be able to tell all these stories in the ring, there's nothing missing. So you don't have to pop the boys or pop the crowd or whatever. That was cool for that era, but we're above that now. So that's the reason why, because now people get an opportunity to make a name for themselves. Earlier that day, I was watching the 2021 Royal Rumble. No, the 2020 Royal Rumble. And Bianca Belair was in the ring. And I was like, wow, this was like that second introduction after WrestleMania 34 to the massive audience. And again, that was when they kind of started bringing the NXT ladies up to trying to tell those stories. But there was also to kind of get you familiar with them. And that's the thing. So like I said, with Joe Hendry, you got to solidify this partnership. I believe Brother Hugh called it last week when he said this is the reason why he's won the championship from Brother Hugh's GOAT, Dolph Ziggler, aka Nick Nemeth, so that
Brother Hugh
get this moment. And it's a moment that people was paying attention because when you think about when that music hit, the crowd was into it. And it was enough people, let's say 60,000. It was enough where if 30,000 was cheering, it became infectious. You know what I mean? And that was the thing. So again, everybody who came back, it's like we could tell these stories and then we can move forward because you got to eat after the Royal Rumble, True. So why we would have been saying, like back in the day, people kind of said, well, if this person was in there, so and so from NXT could have been, or FCW, which we wouldn't have cared about. Now we care about all those people because at the end of the day, they're all on national TV.
Bingo. Excellent point, brother guy. Were you happy with the surprises that the WWE gave us this year for this year's Royal Rumble? Were there anybody that you wanted to see or hoping to see to be a surprise, or were you good with what they gave us?
I was 100% great what they gave us, except for number 30.
What is going on with you with all this positivity right now? What are you talking about? Yeah, this dude, he's talking about he's 100% happy with stuff. What?
Yeah, it's good. Right. This must be
for instance, stop it. It was New Bell Day. So because I hate when it's somebody else could have been in that spot. And I didn't feel like that in this Rumble, except for number 30. So I was actually happy. I like that everything that can evolve from it. Like I'm excited now for not necessarily the road to WrestleMania, but each week on TV, what can happen now because of everything that happened in this ring. You know, we already got AJ Styles going to Raw. We got Joe Hendry talking big stuff now.
Big stuff,
The
like
question
John
of
Cena
what,
stuff.
right. So it's so much stuff that came out of these surprises that's not just, okay, Michelle McCool came back. We'll see you next year in the crowd. Oh, look, she's in the crowd. Is she in the Rumble? Oh,
And-
you're in the Rumble. Yay, it's Undertaker's wife. You should care about her because she did all this stuff all this time. We don't have to explain that. And we
Who
don't have to
also
wait
happens to
till
be in
next year.
phenomenal shape, by the way.
Right. Right. I'm not,
Right.
trust me, I'm not taking anything away from it. It's the fact that
It's kind of
that
predictable.
spot wasn't wasted. We got
Sure.
another current wrestler to do something that's going to make me tune in. So it did its job. It's going to make me continue to watch WWE or ask questions like, why is everybody excited about Alexa Bliss? What's the deal with her? Oh, this is why. Why did that doll have that on their eyes? You know, what's the meaning? You know what I mean? Like everything about it. What's next for her? I want to tune in. Do I watch Raw? Do I watch SmackDown? Or do I watch NXT? What do I do? Why does that one chick sound like Scott Steiner music? Oh, that's what that is? Okay, I'll go back and watch that. Yeah, so every element of it worked to fit the narrative of what WWE is now. You can pop the crowd with what you have. Because now the casual fan might say, I watched Tuesday because I want to know what Last Legend is about. I want to know, wait a minute, that's a world champion in the match.
I definitely want to know.
Who's this Julia? Yeah, who's this Julia lady? And what's that on her face? What does that mean? You know what I mean? So it's going to have people questioning, but it's going to be the good kind of questions that they're going to go seek out these answers. They're going to go figure out who's this Stephanie Vaquero, or why was it Io and Julia trying to have an actual wrestling match during the Rumble? Like they were trying to tease the spot.
They go about to kill each other.
Right. I was like, wait a minute, no, don't do that now. This is not the space for it. And I will say the biggest thing that had me excited is when Sheamus stood there and watched Joe Hendry do all that stuff and broke it up. Jacob Fatu, he said, why you do that? I was enjoying that. Why are you so angry, fella? And it was so genuine that I felt like, that's a fun spot. Like, yeah, we missed the Kofi getting eliminated, coming back some kind of way. But that spot will live rent-free in my head as, dang, that was so... Because you saw Sheamus in the corner like, oh, he's just going to watch. Sheamus was like, I'm not taking any of that. But then when you're like, oh, that's what he's doing. He was just watching. He was like, I was enjoying that. What's wrong with you, fella? That was, to me, the perfect thing for Joe Hendry. Like, and of course, Roman had to eliminate him because anybody else eliminate a world champion from another brand is going to damage them. This is going to help him. So
there's no shame in getting eliminated by Roman Reigns. It's actually like
eliminating Jordan Grace last year.
Yep,
exactly.
Like
it was like who wouldn't, like, you had to, and then she did it again this year.
Yep.
So they're going to tell a story when they're ready for that, but they're going to always be able to call back to these moments. And I'm telling you, everything about a surprise or a return. I mean, the biggest return was AJ Styles got his old music back. So that was it. I think everybody loved it, and that's what really got the crowd excited. That it's him and his old music, and let's call it what it is.
He didn't even have new gear. He said, "I'm going back to my old gear."
He went back. He said, "I'm classic AJ. I'm classic WWE AJ Styles." Because I want to say classic AJ Styles. Everybody think I'm talking about TNA, but everything. Trish Stratus coming back. I said it when she came back the first time. Give her a world title. Give her that run. Let her do this. You know what I mean? And it was like everything about it. I was like, oh, look, she looks like she belongs on the roster. So
49 years old.
Even though we didn't get AJ Lee, because I think AJ Lee would have been overshadowed by all of this.
Sure, yeah. And you kind of want your own spot. You don't want to kind of fall in line with all that stuff. But Brother Hugh, were you satisfied with the surprises that we got this year from the 2025 Royal Rumble?
What they said. I'm not gonna sit here and say the same thing over and over.
but you pretty much agree. Like I said, it's fine. That's as Macho Man. Macho Man, do you agree with Brother Hugh and agree with Brother Guy and Brian H?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we got some people in the greens with us.
Sable whip.
Hey, can I add one last thing? I'm sorry, I forgot. I had to go to my notes.
Let it rip.
The fact that you had Cena, Roman, Punk, AJ Styles, Jey, Drew, and Seth, and you still had more people to enter the ring, what are you doing to us, Triple H?
We are going to get to that. Let's just jump right into it. We're talking about the actual Rumble itself, right? Hold on, real quick before. Did you guys get a kick out of Ice Show Speed? And how he
got
entered the
it.
Rumble?
No, you know what? I forgot all about that. But I hated it, but at the same time, I get it. So I mean, I can't really be mad at it.
I
But
loved it.
personally, me as a wrestling fan, I
Yeah.
didn't like. I couldn't stand it. But I get it. I understand it 100%.
It was the one piece of entertainment that they gave us. Like, it's like heavy on entertainment. It gives us a little bit of wrestling. They said, okay, hold on. We got to have this. Don't forget, we got to check this off our list. We got to have this moment. Like, what is this? It was like the viral moment for that audience. And I'm not going to lie to you,
though. 1 million views on his stream within like 10 minutes.
He did 300 million views in like 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Unheard of. Like, his joint crashed. It made me go back and watch his actual stream of when he did his backstage stuff for Royal Rumble. I was like, because now I want to see what happened up to that point. It was the one moment of entertainment they had to give the crossover audience. He was there and he was down for it. He was game. And the way they did it was absolutely hilarious. And I had a feeling something was going on when Tozawa got hurt. And when you go back, yeah, of course he sold it.
What, Tozawa?
I was like, okay, look at him coming up. And then Carmelo Hayes. And if you go back and you watch Speed's live stream, there were hints that were dropped the entire time before he went out there.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because Carmelo Hayes said, hey man, anything can happen around here. Be ready. He's like, what are you talking about? And then so then like when he Carmelo Hayes, who showed up, we're gonna get into the men's rumble right after this, who when he knocked out Akira Tozawa and he went back there on his stream, he walks past Speed and Stephanie. He goes, I told you, always be ready. You never know around here. And he's like, what are you talking about? And Stephanie McMahon looked at him like, and she, oh my God, she sold it like a boss. She looked at him like she was so confused, like, what do you, like, she was so curious. It's like, what are you talking about? And then that's when Triple H goes, Speed, you're in the Rumble, go. He's like, no, I'm not going. He sold it so well. He was over with the crowd. The crowd went nuts when he came out there. And you can tell, you can't tell by the TV cameras, but when you look at his stream and you hear it, it was super loud. Like he went out there.
He never got a pop like that before.
Bro, and you can tell.
It.
He walked out there and then he heard that pop. He started turning up. I said, oh, there it is. He heard that 70,000 strong. He went down there and he paid his dues. He goes in there.
Yep.
He goes in the ring. He does his little gimmick. He does his backflip. And even did his little catchphrase MVP looking thing. And the crazy part is majority of the crowd knew what he was doing because it's something he's done before when he does his athletic stuff, like his little signature thing. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is actually working. Speed is over. And then Braun Breaker cheered him on. He eliminated somebody. He cheered him on, and then he speared him in half. I said, you know what?
He laid it in like old school, protect the business.
Oh my goodness!
Like okay.
He had a neck brace on afterwards, looking like Andy Kaufman.
Yep.
I didn't even see it. Did he really?
Bro, he like at the end when he did his post, he's like, I'm not coming back here ever again. This stuff ain't no. This is real.
I saw the scratch on his leg. Where did he get that from? When they threw him over the thing?
Yeah, he had a burn, like a whole burn. Like I don't know how he like rug burned his leg, but burned his whole leg.
The table spot.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was because I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah,
he act like he died. He got up and he was like, bro, I'm not coming back here ever again. I'm suing Roman Reigns. He's like, I'm not doing this ever again. I'm not coming back to WWE. He's like, I couldn't walk for 2 days. And if he said it based off how he got hit, somebody that's not a wrestler, you believed it. You're like, yeah, he probably wasn't bad.
He was in pain. Like he had some real pain.
Yeah, it probably was. Bad Bunny said that. Like he said the next day he couldn't move. And Grant, he was in a full-fledged but
match.
He got hit with Braun Breaker, who's born in this business. He's not, Braun. This business sent Braun to college, so he gonna protect it.
This out of all people, your first interaction with college is getting tackled by Braun Breaker, and I was like, you know what? And it's funny because Triple H was in a press conference and he mentioned him. He just started giggling like, yeah, I feel bad for him a little bit. And I'm like, why are you laughing right now, Triple H? But it went viral. That part of the Rumble did its job. It sold it to a different mass. I think the biggest thing when it comes to crossover appeal was, and this is when you talk about this generation and how they feel about streaming, they're so like youthful and silly. Like we come from a generation where everybody was trying to be cool, right? It was cool to be cool. But it's like that segment of the audience expected that from him, and he looked like he was having so much fun. And that's why kids and streamers gravitate towards just watching people live their lives. It's because they can live vicariously. Like this dude is living it up. Like who in the heck? Like Casanet, the other famous streamer, was in the audience. Like, nah, I can't do that, bro. Like, nah, I can't.
He was stupid.
There's no way in the world. He's like, nah, I can't get in the ring. I want to, but I can't.
And Braun didn't pull nothing on that. He hit him full on.
No, he hit him for real. It wasn't like no.
He hit them, and then Otis threw him away like he was trash. Like, get over there. Like you don't belong here.
This leg. It was crazy.
And it was Otis' face.
He might not sell. So we're gonna make him sell.
Yeah, I'm saying Otis' face was like, get out of here. Like I was like, oh, that looks like that hurt.
Bro, he got kicked in the chest by Randy Orton last year. Came out dressed as a freaking prime bottle with logo.
Oh yeah, he did.
Got RKO. I said that's when I first found out who he was. I said he's got to be some type of streamer or YouTube guy. You know, one of Logan Paul's homies, and he's kind of blown up even more since then. You know, to me, I'll say it this way: he's crossed over because he was already famous in the streaming world. The kids knew who he was. Because I'm watching wrestling, the kids like that's speed. I show speed. I'm like, what's who? And I'm like, okay, so he must be in that space. But that moment, as much as you hated the brother Hugh, it will live on in history of WrestleMania. Like he got his part. Like if this is the old days, he would have solidified.
The guy that Kane used to. I'm sorry, my fault.
Pete Rose. No, you're right. No, I was going there. I was Pete Rose and Drew Carey. He solidified himself in the Celebrity Hall of Fame wing if Vince was still running the show. So you're absolutely right. So it's like when I saw that moment, I was like, oh wow, it worked. It served its purpose. Hey, this is why we brought him here. We knew this moment was going to happen, so we got the streaming audience. So yeah, many surprises. But Brother Brandon kind of brought up the men's Rumble. We're going to get into the men's Rumble. We're going to get into Cody's match with Kevin Owens, as well as the women's Rumble. But we're going to keep moseying along. But goodness gracious, who, gentlemen, were your MVPs of this year's men's Royal Rumble? Brother Brandon, you said we got a Royal Rumble with so many superstars in the ring at one time. And this is before everybody even came out. Could you name that list again of that single moment of superstars that were in the ring together?
John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, AJ Styles, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, and Seth freaking Rollins.
Generational talent. Only thing I was missing from that was the freaking Undertaker. Like, you kidding me? Talk about that moment.
And you still had more people to get into the room. I said, who's left? At this point, I said, wait a minute.
Later. Yeah,
it was still more people to come in. I said, these are the top superstars in WWE, probably arguably the biggest superstars in wrestling to date. All in the ring, and there's still more to come. Like how we'd already seen Rey Mysterio in the ring. We'd already seen, only person that was, you know what I mean? We've seen legends. We've seen future Hall of Famers. Sheamus already there. We've seen the up and comers, but you already had a Jacob Fatu there. You already had, let's call Jey Uso. All these people that's breaking through, and it's like, oh, here's where the big boys play. Not to be a pun or anything, but it was still more to come.
WCW.
Yeah, you see what I did there? So I was so like, wait a minute, what is happening here? At that moment, that's when I realized this is the greatest Royal Rumble to date. If you can put that much into a ring and still tell that story, because what got me is when Seth music hit, he came straight down and went straight up to CM Punk, was like, I don't care about nothing else.
Bro, they stayed with the storyline. Like they've committed to hating each other. Like they're gonna go to S3. He said they make it very clear. It's on site. And literally every time CM Punk and Seth Rollins get near each other, it's never civilized.
It's always like, I'm gonna kill you.
Even after the Rumble, CM Punk's music hits, he sees CM Punk, he comes out of his little Spy vs. Spy jacket and his hat. I said, come on, bro. Like it's really on site between these two every time they see each other. But Brother Hugh, who were your MVPs of the Royal Rumble? I mean, what did you think about this year men's Royal Rumble? Was this the biggest one of all? I mean, we clearly was most attended, but was this the biggest, the baddest one you've ever experienced as a fan?
Absolutely. I believe I think I talked to you the next day, right, Brandon? when I because you mentioned it, all of those superstars in the ring, I was like, oh my god, son, you see this? You see the amount of star power that's in the ring? I
Unreal.
have never seen this before. And that, like you said, that was before LA Knight came in and whoever else came in.
Before
And I'm
Right.
like, bruh,
Drew,
this is
not
mind
Drew.
blowing.
Was Damian before Damian Priest even got in the ring too?
You had like 10 to 15 superstars in the ring, and I'm like, bro, who the heck gonna win it?
Right.
Who's gonna eliminate who? What stories are gonna be told? You know? So, but I mean, my MVP, I would say, it has to be Roman for taking those two heels to the back of the head.
That was when he got eliminated.
Forget
Why
Seth Rollins,
do that?
bro.
Why Seth do that, man, like that, bro?
That first off,
First he
Seth
killed
was
Sting.
like a man possessed.
He didn't care, bro.
He stood on business though. He stood on business though.
But he said
Yeah,
it.
all right.
The next time I'm in the ring with Roman, I'm stomping his head in. He said that. Remember?
He's a man of his
started
word.
this whole mess. It's his fault. He had to hit Roman in the back of the chair, and then he killed Sting. And now he's trying to take out the tribal chief.
He messed up Finn. Don't add Finn in there. He messed up Finn. Finn ain't been right since that buckle ball.
It's always
I would like to say, real quick, the real MVP as far as storytelling are the camera guys and production. Because we saw a couple of times where when the shots, they had certain shots, like for instance, when Roman was in the background and then Seth was right there, they zoomed into Roman, and then they came back, zoomed in on. I was like, bro, going crazy. Then it was a spot with I think Braun Breaker too, wasn't it? I want to say it was Braun. I'm not sure.
Braun had some stuff,
but it was a couple of spots, and I was just like, man, hey, bro, y'all telling these stories. Do y'all thing. Do your thing. Right.
They were killing it from start. And I'll tell you this, my MVP was the sports thing at the bottom of the screen that kept you up to date the whole Rumble.
What is going on? You like something involved in sports too?
I was like, this is cool. That was cool. Right. Put that on every Rumble for that. Can they go back and add that to the other Rumbles? Because that thing was freaking cool.
You're gonna make some more interns' life a lot harder by saying stuff like that.
Right.
I was hearing people didn't even like it.
Really?
That thing was perfect.
Add the tribal chief music to all the Romans ever since he became the tribal chief. Add the first head of the table music. Why they doing that?
Just add it all in.
Yeah, put Jeff Hardy's "No More Words" on everything that he come out, even after, like when him and Matt first broke up. Like when they're going back and add stuff, do it right.
Just go ahead and make it right in there.
Just fix all the wrongs. Then don't snap it. Reverse
what about you, Brian? And the crazy part is you guys mentioned all this stuff, and I look at this photo, I'm like, let's not forget the wreckage that Jacob Fatu did before all this other stuff came to fruition. But Brian H., what do you think about this year's men's Royal Rumble? Who stood out to you? Who was the MVP? Was it everything you expected? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, definitely everything I expected. You know, I had just watched one of the Royal Rumbles I always watched is 2001 because that's another loaded Rumble. You think about Austin Rock, Taker, Kane, Big Show, all of them in it. But this one, man, the men's, I mean, I just feel like everybody played their part, you know what I mean? Because it all set up for Jey Uso to walk out of there, you know what I mean? Him going out there doing this thing, I thought he was incredible. And Tribal Chief came in, he showed out. This is the first time he was in a Royal Rumble in a while. And, I think it was him and Strowman who had the most eliminations. So if I had to give it to somebody, I'll throw it on them too. But overall, just them working together, you can see everybody's set to like make wrestling the best it can be.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. I think I was listening to you as you guys so articulately made your points when you talk about you guys mentioned it. Everybody in the ring did their thing, like they played their part. And I loved how the Rumble started out. Like it was workhorse after workhorse after they put all the workhorses in the ring first. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing right now. Because at this point, you got to keep the audience warm. And I'm gonna tell you what it reminded me of WCW and the Cruiserweight division.
I was about to say WCW Cruiserweight division, right?
It's because
straight up.
Eric Bischoff literally said, I'm gonna start the show for the NWO. Once that leaves, I gotta keep this crowd's attention and keep them hot. Cruiserweights went out there and did their thing. And I'm like, yo, that's what you're supposed to do. You got, and they said that it's cruiserweights, and after that, your television / United States Championship guys and stuff like that. Your workhorses went out there and put on a show. First of all, you started the show out with Rey Mysterio and Penta. First of all, you gave us a moment. These guys have traveled all around the world with each other in Mexico and beyond. And to me, that was a very special moment where Rey Mysterio like, look, bro, you deserve to be here. This is the big times now. This is what the heck we talked about. I told you years ago we was going to get to this point. And you can tell the crowd felt it because they just erupted when they saw those both in the ring with each other. They had their moment. They said their words. And you can tell Rey Mysterio like, look, bro, follow my lead. Let's make this happen. Don't panic because right now it's all eyes on us. And Penta kind of went to it. They shook hands, and then he kind of pulled him back in. He did his thing, and it was like, oh, it was off to the races. And I was like, here we go. And then just
get this
the
money.
guys that followed. Yep. Then you had Carmelo Hayes getting a ring, and then you had when I saw Chad Gable got her, I said, oh yeah, it's on now. I said they out here, they putting all the workhorses in the ring, and they really, really held it down before all the other players that came in to kind of further the storylines. And I thought it was so amazing. I couldn't agree with you guys more about it. This is probably the most action-packed. I was so excited to see the Rumble. I didn't want it to end. And if it wasn't so late after while we record the show, I go back and watch it again just to get a kick out of it. But that's the beauty of
I've
these
already
things.
watched it twice.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Like I was like, yo, this is insane. And I was like, man, there's so much star power. And it was such a swerve when the whole CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins moment happened. I said, holy cow, who's going to win the match now? I never even thought about Jey Uso. I never thought he had a chance. I didn't even put him at the forefront, you know, and there's no disrespect to him. I just didn't think they were going to go in that direction because they did that on purpose. CM Punk keeps selling us like, I have to main event WrestleMania. I have to make man. And the whole time, to me, it's just a distraction. He was probably never going to main event WrestleMania, but he convinced us as the audience that that's the only thing he was here to do. And that's what's going to make whatever storyline he's a part of next that much more drastic because we know that that's all he talked about. And now that's almost off the table. So it's like, man, same thing with Seth, same thing with Roman. Like, well, where do we go from here? We assumed that all these guys were going to be the ones to kind of like we got with Charlotte. It was kind of obvious, like, okay, well, the Queen's back. Who else you going to go with? Yep. And then we looked at our guys like, okay, hey, this is their time. And then all of them went over. I said, uh-oh. And then you had Cena, you had Jey. It was poetry in motion. It was very cinematic. It was art. I loved every last bit of it. It was amazing. This has got to be probably the biggest and the baddest Royal Rumble that we've seen in time, and it will definitely go down in history.
And I want to give my MVP for the women to the black women because I was sitting there thinking about I was on Instagram, right? And they were talking about one of the Slammy Awards, and they was talking about like the bikini contest. It was between Sable, Sunny, and Terry. And we was never made to really appreciate Jacqueline, you know, because she was such the heel. And Brother Hugh would always say like Sable was overrated, even though I got like, living memory proof of Brother Hugh marking out over Sable when we was younger.
No, you do not. No, you do not.
I have memory.
Jacqueline over Sable.
He said, no, you do not.
It was always Jacqueline over Sable.
I'm just saying, but you used to like
Jackie
Sable
was fine.
too. But you know, but when you look at like now, to be able to see those beautiful black women and how athletic they were, just go out there and show out and have their moment, and none other better than Chelsea Green to just kind of say, "Hey, y'all, you know, I'm here too."
Right?
Yeah,
she was a part of the group.
That was the thing, you know what I mean? And they made them all like, look at her. Wait, what?
Look at Bianca. You know Bianca.
Right.
She don't even go here. And I felt her saying that.
Chelsea got the middle, like, okay. Like I said, Chelsea, no, it's not your time, sweetheart. Go over the corner. You walked in the wrong direction.
This is not your time.
So let's get into the women's rumble. I must say, I was nervous for the men's Royal Rumble after this one. This is the greatest women's rumble I have ever seen. I was so thoroughly engaged with each and every lady that came to the ring. I mean, when I say it was really, really good, I said, man, this is hot. Like they started the show off perfectly. And I'll say this now. Roxanne Perez is my MVP for this year's Women's Royal Rumble. I
tell you about her.
I I'm familiar with her only through NXT and things like that, but the performance, she was so confident, she was so fluid, she was so believable. I said, okay. I said, I
She's a
didn't
vet.
I didn't know how I felt about Roxanne Perez, but I know how I feel about her now. She is absolutely amazing. She had the same effect on me in this Rumble as I felt about Tiffany Stratton when Becky Lynch went to NXT and they had their, and I was like, okay, I see who you are now, and I acknowledge you. No pun intended, Tribal Chief.
See, when you say that, now I know how you really feel about her.
I'm just saying.
But you know, I've been saying, the praises of Roxanne Perez said she was Roxy. It was a reason why she was the youngest champion in Laredo, Texas, and the reason why Booker T strapped the rocket to her. I break the fourth wall. This is a family business, but so everybody who watching the Wrestling Rumble know. But like I've been privy to watch the first episode of LFG, right? And one of the things is that Booker T being a coach, you see how hard he is on people, and you see how much he takes the business serious. So, like when he's talking to these people, he's explaining them what they need to do, yada yada yada, and it's a reason why he always marks out or goes crazy for Roxanne, because like that's his that's his student, right? The same way the Usos are, the same way Athena was. Those are his students. Those are the people that came up in his program. So. They get
very high standards for them.
Yeah, it's very So she come in with great stuff. I remember you put me on the reality wrestler, Kiara Hogan. You know what I mean? And it's another one I watched it. I'm gonna put somebody you should keep your eye on is Tiara James. I was watching the Fourth Rope today. She's a young black woman. Man, and the business is in good hands. You know what I mean? And Roxanne Perez, it's a reason why like. She got rushed into that title picture faster than she would have because of the whole Mandy Rose stuff. But when you look at the roster at that time, that was the one person you could put the championship on that you could confidently say, all right, we can put the title on her, let her be the ultimate good girl. And then when we take it off of her and when we turn her, it'll make sense. And so that long, when you got to make that pivot, and this is why Shawn Michaels is the greatest producer of all time and the greatest booker of all time, because when he had to make that, yes, absolutely.
You said it on record. You interviewed him one time, now you don't even care about Triple H anymore.
Hey, I mean, actually, probably say talk to Triple H more, but
really, I thought it was the other way around.
Shawn 3 times, Triple H 4.
Oh, okay. I thought it was 3 Shawn Michaels and 2 Triple H, but I had it wrong.
Yeah, but the thing is, like with Triple H, I mean, he's good. Don't get me wrong, but Shawn Michaels, and obviously I know it's a small scale, but like I said, that way that he had to make that pivot so he could get the title on Tiffany Stratton, Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria, and then when he put Roxanne Perez back in that position, she had such a great heel run. So because we always saw babyface Roxanne. That's who that first variation of Roxanne was Roxy all throughout the Indies. Only time I seen her get booed was at ROH when she was going against Willow, and that was because the crowd was black. And they realized Roxanne was a woman of color too. Everybody wanted Willow to have that moment for ROH, win the ROH Women's title. But she going out this show and she said it like, her being, even because she started at 14, so even at she's 21, she's still a vet because some of those people just getting started at her age. They're just getting started. So she's being able to direct traffic. And man, I can't wait for her and Bayley to really get into a program because it's brewing, but it's gonna go next level when whether it's on Raw or SmackDown.
No doubt, Brother Hugh. Now you are a connoisseur of the women's wrestling. You have worked with many promotions in with the women specifically, and you've done some work behind the scenes in the locker rooms as well. How did you feel about?
A few of them that was in the ring.
Say what?
I said, including a few of them that was in the ring.
Oh, that is true. You have definitely worked with first of all, tell the world, brother, how many women in the ring that you recognize that you had a chance to personally work with. And then tell everybody, how did you feel about, because and I'm asking you particularly is because you're always the working fly on the wall, right? You're always finding your way to when you work with these talent that you've been in these places where it's like you've never put yourself in the forefront, but you're always working, like you're always there,
Yo,
you're always there.
real quick, I'm gonna tell you what Hugh
Yeah,
is.
go ahead.
Roman
Yep.
said the other day on one of his interviews, he said when him and Seth and Dean or Moxley would all be ready to come out and
Mhm.
do their Shield thing, he said Moxley would be gone somewhere. They're like, yo, where's this dude at? And as soon as that music hit, he right there in the airport. Right time to get to the gate, he right there. That's Brother Hugh. You'll be sitting there at the show. He'll be all the way on the other side. And I'll be like, yo, we got to be at this spot at a certain time. Before you know it, he like, yeah, with his camera. Yo, what's up?
Ready.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us, really. Talk to us, Brother Hugh. We now Brian needs to put you over. He said something nice to you.
I know, right?
He said so now tell us some of the ladies that you've had the pleasure of working with, during your time, as well as how did you feel about this year's Rumble? Like, we know we got your baby is the winner, Charlotte Flair, but tell us about how do you feel about how they set up because to me the women's Rumble and the men's Rumble was set up very different. And I was like, bro, I feel like I got two different. I feel like I cheated. Like I got like two for the price of one. That's how I felt when I watched this. But how did you feel when you got a chance to see people you worked with before, and how did it turn out or pan out in terms of the difference between the men's and the women's and how you enjoyed it?
Well, I felt right off top. I felt very proud because I had the likes of working with people like Michin and
Mhm.
Jordan Grace, just to name a couple. But just to
Heavy
see
hitter.
them and just watch, yeah, right, just to watch their progress and to see them finally make it, and they look completely different for the most part. They're out
Mhm.
there. They made it. They made it, and
Right.
I seen them like when they first came in. Even to I met B Fab too at one point in time, but it was great to see all of them in there and just doing their thing. The women's Rumble was amazing for me. It was a couple of botches, like I said, but you got to realize you had a lot of new women, and plus it's a new thing. It's
Mhm.
still rather new, so that's going to be
So,
something that's going to get a little bit better over time.
Mhm.
Um, man, I was simply just speechless, to be honest. It's going like I said, just seeing all the talent and see how healthy that roster is. Number
Oh my
one,
gosh,
like what?
loaded, bro.
And then you didn't even have everybody in there. You still had
Fact.
a whole 20 other people, well, 15 to 20 other people in NXT that you could have thrown in there. And I'm
Right.
like, what? What are we doing nowadays? And to see the difference from what we were used to when we were growing up
Yep.
to now,
It's
bruh,
amazing.
I'm just seeing the evolution because I work with women's football too, and just
Mhm.
seeing the evolution of that throughout the last couple of years when I started working back in 2017. It's amazing. It's amazing, and I'm just proud to be a part of it, and I've been proud to say that I've been a part of it. But
Right.
man, that Rumble was everything. It was everything for me.
Very special. But now, brother guy, you have also worked in the locker rooms as well. You have booked wrestling shows. You have done things. That's right. We putting all your personal business in the street. Not only are you the live band man, not only are you the belt guy,
Yeah,
but
the
you
live
are
band,
hooked
man.
by crook, the guy with the book. See what I just did there? I don't know where I got that from.
Where
You
did that
have
come
you
from?
have also worked in these locker rooms as well, and you have also been a champion and an advocate for women's professional wrestling. Not so much sports because you're not a sports guy, but you have always championed women. You have always championed women's professional wrestling and the performers that have put their lives and their bodies on the line each week, no matter what level, no matter where they are. You have always been one of their main supporters, and you've been hitting us with a lot of positivity as far as this show. I've never seen you this happy before. I'm happy that wrestling made you this happy. So tell us, what did you feel about this year's Women's Royal Rumble? Who are your top players? Some of the things you enjoyed, your MVPs. So much was going on, but there was a lot to unpack. But how did you feel about it all?
I feel like the pacing was perfect. There
Mm,
is one minor thing that I didn't like, two minor things I didn't like.
okay,
Stop the kip ups because it was
it was
overdone.
definitely
Oh
It's not
30 of them.
special anymore. Yeah. And then the other thing was I threw everybody out the ring, look at me, and then everybody jumped back in. They overdid that spot twice, in the men's and the women's. But if that's
Mhm.
my only negative takeaway, it still holds up as a great Royal Rumble.
Right.
When I say the pacing, everybody came in there with a purpose. Everybody had a purpose. It felt like everything was done for a reason. It wasn't
Mhm.
just to say, "Oh, the Rumble's here. Let me call everybody." Yeah, people are bent out of shape that we didn't get Marsha Slamovich for the Women's Rumble, but
Mhm.
this one didn't
Becky
need her.
Lynch.
You know what I mean? We
No,
didn't need Becky Lynch. We didn't need. I mean, it would have been nice to see Carmella, but it was okay. Like, you know
We
what I
did
mean?
forget
Like,
Mama Trish.
yeah, we got Trish and we got Alexa Bliss. That's how surprised is. Yeah, everybody can be in the Rumble, and of course, the NXT roster shows that. Here's the thing: I think that Triple H is really making a huge problem because it's too much. It's just too much talent. It's just too because
He's up to
because
something.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's got like anytime we got involved, we got a fourth wrestling show that nobody's talking about.
First of all,
We got a fourth.
NXT got its own developmental. What are we
We
doing here
got
in the
a
street,
fourth. Think about it. We got a fourth wrestling show plus a reality show to get
bro?
more wrestlers.
On Tubi. Like you kidding
Right.
me? They said, "No, we not missing out on no money anywhere. We got broadcast, we
We
got
go on
Netflix,
everywhere.
we got cable, we got the free network, and then we got A&E. Like, what the heck is going on? Go ahead.
And the thing about and here's something about TV. Those people that are going to be wrestling on there, they can tell everybody you can see me on TV. You can watch me on TV. It's a
Facts,
gateway
bro.
to get more eyes on WWE. But this women's Royal Rumble, even if somebody want to nitpick and say, "Oh, this person should have came first, this person should have came first," you can't walk away from this without feeling that was exciting, that was
Sure.
fulfilling, that was entertaining. And that's why I'm saying Triple H figured out the balance of entertainment. I'm just scared that it's so much talent now because the women are not only on equal playing field with the men, but I felt
Right.
the same way you did. Like, oh, how they going to top this? Because we've seen this in Money in the Bank matches where the women match was much better than the men's. We've seen it
Yeah.
in Survivor Series matches or War Games matches. It was like that women match was better than the men. Y'all better be careful. I think we're at the point now we're just going to start saying that was a good match, and that's nothing short of what the work they've done. I think it's a true testament that everything's equal now. Because even looking at that, what you call it, Live Valkyria had a wardrobe malfunction. It didn't blow
Yeah.
up the internet. We were all sensitive, like, "Oh my god, somebody help her!" And then
I was
hearing the
about to say,
live crowd
shout out to
cheer.
Liv Morgan real quick too. Shout out
Bro,
to Liv
she's a
Morgan for
pro.
helping her. She's
She
definitely
is
a
a
pro
pro.
for that.
And she rolled over and they took the camera away from her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't even go back over to that side until you saw Lyra come back in the shot. You know,
Right.
10 years ago, 15 years ago, that would have been a talk of everything. Oh my God, a wardrobe. Did you see what happened? Oh, geez, look at this. And it would not have cut away. But
Mhm.
it's so great that we actually value and respect the sport now that I want to see. You want to see all this. Like, we don't even. Where was Oscar? Where was Kyrie? You know, it's
True.
so many names that's
That's
missing.
what I'm saying.
You could have did a
Jay,
40
like,
or
Dang.
yeah, you could have
You
did
know
a
what I mean?
40 woman Royal Rumble. You could have did a 50, and we still would have been like, "This is great," because there's so much more talent. How do you have this many? I don't want to call them primetime players, but you got this many women that you're
A-plus
like,
players.
I'm okay with it. Like none of us would argue, or none of us even batted an eye that one NXT when we had 3 women's matches back to back. Nobody cared. We just enjoyed the show.
Facts. Right.
It was just like, oh, okay, that's next. Okay, that's good too. Oh,
Because that's
you
how
know,
I
this is the
prefer it.
first 2.
Yeah.
And
I prefer it that way. Not just, oh, here's the women's segment. Nah, just let them have this. Let the segment be a part of the segment.
That's
Men's or
why
women's.
Shawn Michaels gets the rub.
Got it. Yeah.
so, but yeah, it was great, and you saw so much what to have. It was so the Kip Ups could have did without, but I'm okay.
He definitely was like 30 of them.
Yeah, it was definitely too many. After the third one, I was like, all right, now stop it. Hey, stop that. That's
All
how I
the ladies-
felt watching.
All the ladies want to show off their athleticism.
And it's
But yeah.
okay. Show it off in different ways.
Well, it's such an amazing women's rumble. You guys are selling me on it again. I'm gonna go back and watch it tomorrow just because like you guys
man.
sold me on watching it again. But
And like, here's the other thing that you're going to realize.
Yep.
Watch when you watch it the second time, and I don't know if Holly would agree. I didn't remember any number of people who came up because I was so vested in the Rumble. I was like, oh, damn, they did come out first. Or wait a minute, I thought they were in the ring by now. But when you watch it the second time, it feels like you're watching it for the first time again. and it's hard to do that.
Oh yeah, that's a big
It
compliment.
definitely had like a nice flow to it compared to the men's.
Mhm.
Like the men's, once it got to 15, you
Mhm.
could tell, yeah, all right, now it's turning up. It's time to turn it up.
Mhm.
And that's when
Yeah.
everybody came in. With the women's,
Right.
they had a nice steady balance of superstars, and it like you said, it told two different stories.
Yeah, you gotta because it's
The
also
Rumble.
opening the show, so you gotta get some
Yeah,
heavy hitters
set
in
the
the middle.
pace.
You gotta sprinkle them throughout. My biggest thing is, like I said, on when did I ever do that show? Sunday night, the music, and we got to get the women some better music. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there
Something more
watching.
recognizable.
Yeah, like we sitting there. We was at Legends, and
Yeah, it was a
it
couple
was
people
like,
like
wait,
that.
who's this? Who's that?
You had to kind of wait till they came out.
Yeah, and I felt the same way last year. And I said that. I said last year when we
Yeah,
was there, I said there was a lot of
yeah,
people. I'm turning around in that ugly stadium looking at the video wall, you know.
Right.
you're right. You're
Trying to.
right. You're exactly right, bro. I remember that.
Well,
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I don't know for sure. But it looks like Jim Johnson is back in the fold. I mean,
Nah, that's a
New Day
rumor.
Nah,
thing,
that,
Th- They
nah.
that was a
confirmed
rumor.
it. Yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
was
All right.
a mishap on the whoever's doing the closed caption. But
Oh,
shout out to Megaran, the homie Megaran. He was actually the
mhm.
one who did the he was the one on rapping on the New Day's theme.
Okay, well, good. I want the right person to get the right credit for it because I was like, I got excited. Like, wait a minute, are we about to do this? We about to do this? Is this really going down? We're really about to do this. But yeah,
I still haven't
um,
listened to that, really listened
I
to
mean,
it yet. So I gotta.
yeah,
I
I
ain't
haven't really
either,
listened
but
to it. I was
it,
like,
it,
oh,
I
different.
I enjoyed it in the moment because it made sense. You know what I mean? And I obviously I don't do the anime stuff, but I think it was my boy Jeff said it kind of gives that heel like anime vibe to it. So
That makes sense with
it's
them.
good.
That makes sense.
That's why they
yeah,
wasn't in the Rumble though. Like it gives them something else to be
they
mad
were
about.
healed. Yeah,
Yeah,
They
but
ain't
now
need
they
to be.
said
They
we
ain't need to be
wasn't
in the Rumble.
exactly exactly. You know, I
yep,
always thought they took a loss too many. I'm glad they won the other day, but
yeah.
I mean the New Day, whew,
New Day heat is
yeah.
real. That's the thing. Don't forget,
Nope.
also it was no solo Sokoa. So there was, I was like, ooh,
Solo, he's somewhere. Like you don't even see him. Only thing you see Solo. Shout out to Stephanie McMahon. I don't know if y'all saw, but Stephanie's Places get ready to come out.
yes,
And you
her
saw
new
him on
thing.
he's on the yacht,
Yeah,
but that's breaking complete kayfabe.
Okay,
I was about to say, yeah, he's chilling. He carried that daggone bloodline storyline for how
you need
long?
a break.
A couple months. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, top
We don't
spot.
even know if Jacob still love him.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Oh no, Jacob moved on.
yeah.
He the
I'm
tribal
in charge now.
werewolf.
Uh oh, who can tell him no? Not me.
Yo, that
Right.
promo with him and Damian Priest,
Yeah,
Priest was with him. I gotta give Priest credit. Priest losing the championship to Gunther and then challenging him. He came up short, but challenging him and reminding him, okay, in the ring you're a general, but in the streets, that helped. That was what Priest needed. Like you said, sometimes he had to get that first world title out the way.
that
But
first Buffalo
Mhm.
run.
that was what he needed. And I thought, man, I was like, oh, Jacob, I was like, he ain't backing down. I was like, because and you saw that moment was like, well, if you are this, why we talking? And then they went
There
at
you
it.
go.
But he
That's
took what you call it out first, so he can say, "Oh no, I'm smart. I'm gonna take you
Mhm.
out, and then I'm gonna come at you."
and he's strategic.
Yep.
The,
Now, I
the
could have done
women's,
without LA Knight.
yeah. See, there
Hey,
you go. I mean, I don't.
hey,
I got to go back and
hey.
watch what the buzz was about that. I'm not going to pretend like I haven't heard what's going on, but now I got to go back and watch it and see.
No,
what
I
they
was just
referring
talking
to.
about not even. I'm talking about in that on
You talking
SmackDown.
about?
Like,
Oh, okay.
like to me, it just didn't fit. Like Tama Tonga's crazy,
Yeah.
and Jacob from the streets, and Priest is from the streets. I guess they couldn't find another street face.
Is it me or is he getting kind of old now?
Who
He's running out of things to do. LA Knight.
Yeah,
running
LA
out? I think it's on E, bro. Like people tried to say LA Knight, Jey Uso got LA Knight's moment, what LA Knight should have had. Clearly, but I don't think so, right? LA Knight, one, it was the time was different because it wasn't a world title, so
Okay.
that hurt him. If we being honest, right?
Okay, yeah, I
I
know what you
felt
mean.
like
Yeah.
calling him the megastar set him up to fail because he wasn't gonna beat Roman. He didn't even.
Right.
He wasn't even like in the same. Like to me, he didn't belong in the match. It was like, all right, we're gonna give you that, but considering where Roman was, if there was a world title, fine. I felt if they would have coasted him to the U.S. title, then fine, But he just felt like a hot song. He felt like a guy who returned on NXT. He felt like a Fandango.
Shout out to JDC, my man Johnny Curtis back in the building. No, everything.
That's what that stands for.
Yeah, Johnny Curtis.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
He was dirty. Because he was Dirty Dango for a long time, and then I guess he tried to be a little more serious.
I ain't gonna lie, I popped though when I heard the music. I said,
everybody,
"Oh, right."
Everybody
still said Fandango.
Fandango.
It's still saying Fandango though. That's the funny part. I was like,
including him. Good thing about it. That's the question we all had, like with former WWE talent showing up that are under contract to TNA but showing back up on WWE television. Like, how do we handle that? So, like, if Dolph Ziggler shows up, I don't want to hear Wanted Man. I want to hear I'm here to show the world. But it's like it's awkward because
they said it. You heard what they said. He beat Nick Nemeth for the TNA World Championship. I said, "Oh, they said
which is the truth. It's because he was Nick Nemeth. TNA.
He didn't beat Dolph Ziggler, so that's hope for you here. But JD's hurt, so he can't come back yet. Because remember,
that was all business. That's all that was.
He owed JD a receipt. JD McDonough, he owed him a receipt.
He definitely did. He pushed him into them stairs and he disappeared after that.
Yeah, he definitely did, bro.
He got a receipt coming.
I need that.
Don't worry, your day will come. Now, as far as somebody's day coming, we got to talk about the championship. We're going to wrap this up because we're going to talk about this and we're going to talk about what's next as we bring this to a close.
So we're not going to raise our fist?
We're not going to raise our fist here. We're not raising our fist.
No, it's something had to be cut. We're not going to. Okay, I'll say this before we move forward. Definitely shout out to the Motor City Machine Guns. It's because this is the best. They're starting to look comfortable in the WWE ring because they started posting stuff out their bag. That Motor City Machine Guns and DIY were definitely pulling out some old school 80s, early 90s tag team shenanigans. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. They're letting them do these things now, like the fake false tags to distract the referee. I said, okay, this is clever. Like you guys are merging. You guys are merging the old style with the old stuff with the new style of doing things. And they're not shy about explaining where the stuff actually comes from. You know what I mean? They had no problem saying that, these guys pioneered this style. But yeah, so shout out to the Motor City Machine Guns. The Street Profits have returned. Are you guys excited to see Street Profits try to get back and chase
I thought he was talking about Cody.
Okay,
I'm excited to see the Street Profits.
And Brown H, he hates both DIY and Motor City Machine Guns. He made that.
I don't hate them, but they don't do nothing for me. They're not for me.
They don't take them fancy.
I need somebody to look good with those belts.
Okay.
Like
all right. Well, DIY.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Brown H is not for it. He don't want to do the tag thing. He wants them separate. He wants them feuding. He wants that bloodbath. It's on NXT. I don't blame him. But listen, my guy's got to get on TV somehow. Cut him a break.
You're right.
Brandon, we're not going to ask you about Motor City Machine Guns.
Thank you.
Raise your fist.
Pow, pow.
Cody Rhodes, somebody who got their comeuppance. We saw a different side of Cody Rhodes this past Saturday at the Royal Rumble. I saw an unhinged side, a much more violent side. Cody Rhodes defeats Kevin Owens in for this, I guess I don't want to say for the undisputed WWE Championship because Kevin Owens is not really a champion. But I do know one thing. Cody Rhodes tried to kill Kevin Owens.
Bro.
Oh my goodness.
Kevin was right.
It's looking like it the way he threw him to the thing. How'd you guys enjoy the championship match between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens? I'm gonna let you guys go first because that's something I noticed about Cody Rhodes. It reminds me of something. I want to see if you guys see it the same way that I do. But how'd you guys feel about this match between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens and this ladder match for the undisputed, I guess, WWE Championship?
The
generational.
Let me get the foolishness out the way because I got something stupid to say.
Go ahead.
Shout out to Cody. Shout out to Cody. He had to show off for Black History Month. Came out, you know what I'm saying? He said, "For my people, Cody Raheem." He came out with the short coat. You know what I mean? So I mean, he came for business. He came for business.
Oh, jeez. Cody Raheem.
Yo,
But all seriousness, we
It
did
is
see a
Black History
different
Month.
side of Cody.
Uh-huh.
Right. We did see a different side of Cody. It was a little bit more aggressive. And shout out to Kevin Owens.
Yes,
He's the real
indeed.
MVP.
Talk
Like
about it. Why
the
is he the
work,
real
the
MVP?
work, because he similar to what Drew did
Mhm.
back with the CM Punk and whatnot. He wasn't even relevant at one point, to be honest. But he made himself relevant because he was smart enough to find a way to troll and just keep himself in the conversation. And this feud, I'm not gonna
mhm.
lie, Cody's run has been kind of dry. But now I'm kind of excited because look, Kevin Owens brought that excitement to his actual run,
There
you
you
know.
go.
And now I'm just excited to see what's next for Kevin Owens because this guy's on the roll right now.
You,
He's
s- you
he's
saw
You know what's
definitely
next.
you saw what he did to Sammy.
right.
Oh, jeez. I
how
hate
long
the fact that, go ahead.
how long is Sammy gonna be out now?
I hate the fact that he blames everything on Sammy and he tried to kill him. Like, why the
Bruh,
package power driver should not be legal move.
bruh. I
Right.
kept saying, Sammy, get in the ring. I'm like watching this the whole time. And I'm like, get in the ring, Sammy. Leave KO alone. Get in the ring. Get in the ring. Stop him. Stop him. And he didn't do it. And I said, what? He gonna
I knew that
beat
was
your
gonna happen. Yeah.
ass. He gonna get
hmm
you. You
hmm
messed up now, buddy. And
Some,
sure enough.
Something's wrong with Kevin Owens. He really, throughout the time we've known this guy since he was Kevin Steen, he
Mhm.
hates, every time something doesn't go right for him, he blames Sami Zayn for
That
whatever
is
reason.
true. That is true.
Something's wrong with him. Like, why did you do this? But yes, Cody Rhodes is
And that was my problem with Sammy at the Royal Rumble in 2024. 23.
okay.
You big
Was he
dummy.
tiptoeing? Well,
He should have hit Kevin with the chair. No, he had to go back.
is
Every
this?
time.
Look at this gangster photo. Look at that. That's a conquering champion, brother guy. Did the right guy win? Well, clearly he won, but that's not the question. I take that back. I don't want to ask the question.
No.
Did you think that Cody Rhodes really had this in him to go to this point just to take Kevin Owens out and to kind of divert this elsewhere? Because here's what I'm starting to speculate. This is my speculation. I want you to tell me, brother guy, if I'm off or I'm on key. I don't know what Cody Rhodes said to Sami after the match, but I do know before the match, Kevin Owens made it clear to Sami Zayn. He said, "Look, man, you have my back. I have yours." I'm assuming that Sami Zayn didn't do something that Kevin Owens probably felt like he should have done because they're quote unquote best friends, and that's why he's mad at Sami Zayn. Now, you tell me, am I right or am I wrong, or am I missing something? Because Cody Rhodes had to go to a very, very different place just to get his point across. And he said to move on from Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens clearly was in bad shape. Is there any merit to this, brother guy?
Yes, because Kevin Owens, the story was being told, you were soft in the last match. You don't have that killer instinct. You can't do what needs to be done to retain your title because Cody was telling Sammy the same thing. That's why he hasn't won. You couldn't pull the trigger because remember when Cody's knee was messed up, Kevin hesitated. So now Kevin's not hesitating anymore. He's showing him, no, I'm going to get this title. So what Cody Raheem had to do this time is show him, no, I told you it was on site. You took me there. You asked for this. Now you're getting what you're asking for.
Mhm.
And if you either live long enough to be the hero or you become the villain. And I knew that Cody had this in him because if you look at Cody Rhodes' history, pre-white meat babyface, he would get down and dirty. He would get bloody. He would go to that place. And when I say go to that place, go look at his time that he wasn't in WWE. He showed I can do that, but I want to be this suit wearing, shaking hands and kissing babies person. But he gave us a little, when he came dressed like a CW superhero. I said, "Oh, this about to be a different Cody." He had the short jacket on. He looked like something from the Arrowverse. I said, "Oh yeah, he about to go there." And one thing that I can't say enough about Kevin Owens, this man, give him whatever he asked for the next umpteen years. This man protected your world champion at the expense of himself. If you go back and look at some of those spots, Kevin took a lot of the brunt of those attacks.
He definitely did.
Everything, even when he was grabbing his head, I said, no, he's really hurt because he made sure he hit the ladder and not Cody. When they were in the ring, the one that he did that suplex off the top, I said, oh yeah, he took that and he protected so much he hurt himself. And when Cody, that ending sequence, and even when Cody went back, said, no, because everything's about cinema. Him standing over top him, holding both of those belts, was a straight middle finger and saying, remember, you asked for this. He didn't want to do it, but he had to show him. Keep playing with me. I told you on site. I met on site. So.
Yeah, that was a powerful image. That right there, that's a powerful image.
Especially because how they didn't wipe the blood off him. I said, oh, Cody got to go get some pictures of it. And then Sami trying to help him. But Cody standing above him like, no, you're beneath me now. I'm moving on.
Look how deflated he looks.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you what this reminds me of. Sami Zayn can't catch a break either. I thought Sami Zayn was going to turn heel until Kevin Owens did what he did. Let me tell you what this reminds me of. When you look at this Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens feud, everybody knows Kevin Owens is one of my all-time favorites. It's my guy. Mm-hmm. It reminded me so much of The Rock and Mankind. On The Rock's ascent to the top, right? Yep. The Rock was getting ready for Austin, and they always said, like, look, he needed to work. He needed to get some grit to him, some edge to him, you know. So he worked with Mankind before that, you know, his beef with Mankind, and they had some violent feuds, and he was like, look, after this feud, it's going to add some edge and some toughness to The Rock. So when he goes into Austin, Rumble, WrestleMania, he's ready. You know what I mean? He has he's got that grit to him, that determination that probably wouldn't be there otherwise. So it's like it's and The Rock will tell you after that feud, it was like, okay, cute, that character was ready to go on to Austin. But it took that part, you know. We saw the same thing with Triple H, how he worked with Mankind, with Mick Foley. You know what I mean? He's a pretty boy. He's kind of soft. He's kind of pampered. He's still corporate. But that everyone who gets in a battle with Mankind, you never leave the same. You come back edgier. You come back a little bit more violent. You come back with a different edge to you because of that war that he put you through. To me, we saw the same thing, you know, with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. I saw Cody Rhodes have a level of grit that to me was not there before. You know what I mean? He played it safe. He was the king of the mountain, you know, the ultimate corporate guy, but he had to go to drastic. And the crazy part is, I mean, he had to get Kevin Owens before Kevin Owens got him. But we all know Kevin Owens. That's what he does. He wasn't acting out of character. But to see Cody have to go to this point just to get his point across, to end up, you know, like this, and to have moments like this where he's like, he showed no remorse, you know, for Kevin Owens at all. And I was like, okay, cool. This is a lot of storytelling. And there's so much that can come from this. But yeah, Brian, how do you feel about Cody Rhodes retaining? I know he's your favorite wrestler since he beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania 40. So, I mean, you don't talk about the Cody Rhodes championship belt that he has.
You know, enjoy it while it lasts.
Okay, see, there you go. You know, Roman didn't win the
yeah, I know, but I got a booking scenario.
Okay,
that should play. But no seriousness. I enjoyed this match to the point I went back and watched it again. And you know, upon listening to what you were saying, I was even thinking, I said, well, what if, you know, Brock Lesnar kind of got him ready, but that was different. Like Brock had to get him ready for getting the title. And it's a difference. It's harder to defend it than it is getting it. And we saw that. So it was nasty. It was, you know, but now he still looked tired. Your champion.
There you go.
He still looked tired. He still looked beat up. And I don't know if he's going to have enough of this to go past April 20th as still your WWE Undisputed Champion.
I feel you. How's Roman doing, by the way? I'm asking for a friend.
Hey, wow.
I mean, I'm just
when Super Cena takes it away from Cody, everybody be begging him to pass the torch.
Oh boy. Okay. Hot take.
He already did. He passed it to Jey Uso.
Now, but see, here's the thing. Oh, man, this is one of the times I wish it could have been Jey versus Cody, because now Jey can be that guy, that guy for the kids, that role Cody's playing. Because I'm gonna tell y'all now, y'all do not want to be around kids when Cody Rhodes walks out. You will not have eardrums.
Oh boy,
but
I can only imagine.
Yes, but I mean, clearly with all the shows, it's 2 rooms. It's room for 2 baby faces.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Boy, oh boy, this is his road to WrestleMania is going to be very interesting because he's not in control. See, last year he controlled his own destiny. Last 2 years, he didn't control his own destiny this year.
Right. Ooh, listen, there's definitely still so much to unpack. But this year's, I think we all in agreement that this year's 2025 Royal Rumble was probably the best one that we've all experienced.
You ain't lying.
And if the excitement for WrestleMania wasn't there, which obviously was, I just felt like it went up 10 times more. And we're all looking forward to it. But of course, we have one more stop before we get to WrestleMania. The Royal Rumble has led us to Elimination Chamber, and I think things are about to get tricky. The WWE has already started with their qualifying matchups, and we're asking the $1 million questions: who's going to main event WrestleMania? Who's going for these championships? And I think this is one more opportunity with the Elimination Chamber to find your way into the WrestleMania. So there's a lot of positivity right now. There's optimism because everybody's like, all right, that's cool. I'm going to work my way into the chamber and I'm going to do what I need to do. But eventually that's going to start to fade away. And then the reality is going to set in. Only one person will wrestle for the World Heavyweight Championship. The other will wrestle for the WWE Championship. And I think that's when these feuds will you'll start to see people get a little bit more volatile than they did before and take less peaceful approaches as we head to that aspect. But oh my goodness, that was a lot, man. We definitely unpacked a lot. Of course, we did a great service to the fans and breaking down, and they wanted to hear what we thought about this year's Royal Rumble. And I think if the people are not familiar, I'm sure they know now. But if you want to keep the conversation going, trust me, you can. That's why we have social media. So follow us on all social media platforms at Wrestling Realm. Don't forget, it's 2 W's. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at The Wrestling Realm. Follow Championship Culture on Instagram at Championship Culture _ and follow all the social media platforms attached to the handles. And if you're not familiar with those, just go on social media and you can find our individual social media handles connected to our Wrestling Realm pages, whether it's Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, so on and so forth. But we have to get ready to get out of here because it's late and we'll be sitting here talking about Royal Rumble all the way into WrestleMania. So we would like to thank you for joining us. We would like to thank our co-hosts and everybody that participated. Please join us next week. Who knows what the heck we'll talk about then, but I'm sure you will be there to engage with us in the conversation as well. As the West Coast people just start coming in, as we always going off the air, we all have a good night. Enjoy yourselves until next time, and trust me, stay thirsty, my friends. I don't know why I said that. We out of here. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/thewrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/thewrestling realm.